Hi, welcome back guys. This is your sensei, back with another fanfiction. This is the second part of What If Naruto Was Immortal and Got Harem. Now before starting, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. It had been roughly a week now since Aizen's escape, and right now Naruto was walking the streets of the Sarite with, as had been custom, Yoruichi on his head and Orihime happily walking at his side. His tour had been pleasant in the past week now that Shinigami weren't attacking him, in fact now that they weren't on opposing sides. Admittedly, most of them were from Squad 4. After learning the primary profession of the one that had fought on par with the captain commander did help a little with their reputation. Anohana was more than happy to have tea with him and his friends again during the day, while at nights it was sake time with his swords, Rangaku, Kukaku, and Yoruichi, plus Shunsui. Naruto was glad for the breather. As much as he enjoyed the fights and the excitement, he had ended up entering another war, and one that had stakes, after recalling what the Hagioku could do. That reminds me, I need to kick Kisuke in the ass for not telling me he had stored the darn thing in Rukia. He knew that Aizen wanted it and Rukia was a crucial part of his plan, but didn't tell him the really important factor and all that. Meanwhile, in the world of the living, Kisuke sneezed and shivered. Sadly for him, it was in view of Tessai, who once more decided to give his boss expired medicine for colds. The man wouldn't be leaving the toilet for several hours, but he completely deserved it though. Still, Naruto would need to find out what he could from the girls he captured, although the first two of them seemed to a little like Sakura and Ino when they were at each other's throats. He hoped the third quiet one would be better to talk to once he convinced them that Aizen really was the wrong person to side with. But that would come later, and he'd need to stock up on snacks, as bribery did help with tense conversations, and he doubted they had much to snack on in the realm of the Hollows. Naruto was on his way to check on Rukia's captain, who was apparently ill. He was going to visit Rangaku, but her captain, as it turned out, had lots of paperwork for her and threatened to freeze any and all sake he found until she finished her work. Yoruichi was happily lounging and watching over Orihime, who oddly was being watched by Soifan in the background. Horyu and Chad were in the Rukengai, as the Quincy didn't particularly enjoy being in a heavy Shinigami environment, while Chad found speaking with the child he had previously spoken to more enjoyable. The half-Mexican giant was really good with kids, as it turned out, especially when Naruto took out some food for him to use and cook for them. Stepping into the barracks, he nodded to the squad members, who all were thankful he had saved Rukia along with the rest of the group. They also respected him, as despite being able to fight the Setacho, he wasn't as egotistical like they expected. Instead, he was modest and quite funny from what they heard. The only thing that had worried them was the rumor that he had managed to make Anohana Teicho scarier when someone annoyed or pissed her off. Moving behind the barracks, he found his way to Ujendo, which he was told was his family's estate where the captain preferred to stay to recuperate. Yukite-san, are you free for a bit of a chat? Naruto asked, slightly glad he had seen the two enthusiastic squad members run off and passed him scrambling about getting a better meal for their captain from the Rukengai that he'd love. It was hard to believe that one was Ritsu's lieutenant sister. They had very different body and hair. Still, who was he to question on the weird and wonderful? On Naruto-kun, yes, I believe I have some time. Come on in, Yukite said as Naruto lifted the blind to find the captain in a simple white robe sitting up from his futon. Forgive me for not being able to look as respectable. My illness does not take it easy on my body. Let me take a look then. Naruto went over to the man's side and ran his hand over, doing a quick and simple diagnostic scan on him. MMN, TB, hell of a disease and a tough one to treat. How long you had this illness? Well, quite some time, at least 100 years or more now that I think about it. I've learned to deal with it, but it has its moments where I can't perform my captain duties. Yukite said, surprised he found out his illness so fast, although Kion had said he spent a fair bit of time with Ritsu and was a doctor. Naruto took the tea set at the side and started to boil the water. No doubt Squad 12 had made the electric kettle. From a seal he took a box filled with various herbs. What are you making, Naruto-kun? Well, normally your condition would take a lot of time to deal with, no doubt because of the amount of time you've had it. Quite a while ago I cultivated several herbs that help with healing, which were quite useful during my stays at various free clinics. This should help start to break down the bacteria in your lungs. Pouring the water into the pot and swirling it, he measured out Yukite's serving before handing him the cup. The captain sniffed the tea and found it pleasant before sipping it. Almost immediately he wanted to throw up and was offered a waste bin by Naruto, which he promptly threw up into. Urgh, I don't think your tea worked, Naruto-kun. No, it's meant to do that. You're throwing up the bacteria along with anything else in your stomach. It should deal with the cough within a week or so, but your weight loss will be something your lieutenants deal with. Yukite tried to nod, but found the bin a better place for his head. After 10 minutes the puking came to a bit of a stop. Guyua, I haven't thrown up that much in quite some time. It has never been a pleasant experience, Yukite said while wiping his mouth with a towel, silently thanking neither Kion or Sentaro were there. Those two would be fussing quite a bit if they saw him vomit this much. Yeah, but that should help you breathe a lot easier. You'll be drinking this tea for some time though. Usually I'd have you on antibiotics for months. Drink it with breakfast and evening meals, don't mix it with sake, but you can drink after your tea, okay? The captain nodded while Naruto unsealed a pack of tobacco and a pipe, lighting it with a click of his fingers and fire chakra. You have my thanks, Naruto-kun. I'm sure I'll be able to get through my captain duties when my health improves, he said, sitting up a bit straighter and breathing easier. It had been a long century or two since he'd been free to breathe in. Be even easier if you got a new lieutenant. Rukia would be a good fit. I saw her manage Ichigo for a month, Naruto suggested while the captain shook his head. She wouldn't, accept she still feels guilty for having to kill the previous one after a parasitic hollow took him over. Also, I doubt her brother would let her. He think people don't see it, but he uses his authority as captain to keep her unseated. His care for his sister keeps her safe in his mind. Yukite took the pipe from Naruto when offered and enjoyed the nice taste. Was that mint in there? He'll learn at some point, but her issue with the Shiba clan shouldn't be a problem. Kinkaku doesn't hate Rukia. She had forgiven her after all that time so long ago. She talked to me about it. Still didn't get to discuss her offer though. Naruto mused, recalling the kiss. That's relieving. I had hoped that wouldn't be a burden for her to keep carrying. She worries too much sometimes. I can't but help but worry about her, Yukite said, taking one more puff before passing the pipe back. You were always looking after those close to you even before you came here. Yukite turned to Naruto, who had a wistful look on his face. One of my talents is being able to remember how people's spirits feel, just as Kamimura is someone I knew, so too are you. Itachi-sen. So I was someone you knew. I'm sorry, Naruto-kun, it has been far too long since I remembered anything about my last life. Yukite gave a small bow of his head, which Naruto waved off. It's fine, we were barely close acquaintances anyway. I just respected you as much as I do now. But you are a lot happier here, that much I can tell, Naruto said, leaving the bamboo shoot of tea leaves as well as a few others. Still, I just came here to give you a doctor's touch. I need to head to Ritsu-chan anyway. She wants some of my recipes and seeds for herbs. I don't think it's wise to refuse her. It never is. I doubt there are many aside from Yamamoto-sensei that could refuse Anohana-san, Yukite said as Naruto left with his pipe still smoking away. He really is an interesting fellow. I think I'll have Sentaro clear out the bins when he and Kiyomi return. Naruto left the grounds. Stepping to the side of the rushing lieutenants, he continued on his way to the 4th Squad barracks, waving to Hanateru as he carried tea to some of the other members. Hey there, Ritsu-san. Naruto greeted the captain, who was wearing her ever-present smile. I come bearing tea and good conversation. Ah, lovely, take a seat then. She offered a seat to the blonde, who took place and brought out his bamboo tube of leaves. She offered the hot water as Naruto poured some leaves into the pot. Taking her cup, she had a small sip. An interesting blend. That's good. Sometimes it can be perfect and others not so much. Makes it a little more interesting each time I make it, Naruto said as Hanateru came in and smiled, leaving some snacks. Such a sweet kid. Shame he's so clumsy. Some things can't be helped, but at times his mannerisms can be a nice source of entertainment. Ritsu let out a small giggle to herself, which was shared by Naruto. A little sadistic of you, Ritsu-san. Maybe the rumors were true, Naruto said as the captain opened one of her eyelids a little with a small amount of intent was released. Oh, what horrible rumors have my former comrades been feeding you? Ritsu's intent was quickly matched by Naruto's own and showed it was no effort. Oh, just some wild idea that maybe you have a bit more bloodlust than some would believe the captain of the medical corps would ever have, Naruto said as his canine started to stick out his top lip almost like a vampire's would. Such a frivolous lie on their part. However, part of me wishes to see how a fellow doctor can fight against the Seicho so well yet still have such skill in healing. Ritsu's smirk turned bloodthirsty at the idea of letting some frustrations go right now. In fact, she was already with blade in hand. A pleasant idea, and I know just the place, but I'm not sure if you can keep up with me, my dear Ritsu-chan. Naruto had both his blades by his side now, intent flaring more now as each of them drew some of their blade before shooting out the window to Kisuke's training spot to practically destroy it. Once they had gone, Issei came into the room looking for her captain. How odd, I could have sworn Teicho was still here. Looking behind her, Hanateru was still delivering tea, or had spilled his tray and was trying to deliver this tray. Hanateru-kun, where's Teicho? She asked the shy 4th seat. Teicho left with Uzumaki-sensei just a moment ago. They seemed to take off real fast for something, he explained as Issei felt a shiver go up her spine for some reason seeing the unfinished tea in the room now. Break X. Few done. Rangaku sighed in relief, having done most of her paperwork. It was one of the things Naruto had gotten her to do right when she stayed with him in the human world, as he did explain. Getting it done right away left more time for fun. Well, I guess I could try and find Naruto for some hot spring relaxation, Rangaku mused to herself, stretching her arms above her head, giving her girls a little boost too for fun. Sadly, no one will be seeing Naruto-kun for a while. Turning her head, Rangaku saw Yoruichi sitting on the windowsill of her office. Anohana managed to sneak off with him and she had a smile on her face. What does that have to do with me not being able to see him? Rangaku questioned, obviously not fully knowing the reasons why Ritsu wanted to spend time with Naruto. You do know about Ritsu before she became captain of the 4th Squad, right? Yoruichi, being around for a bit longer than Rangaku, was privy to a lot more info. Being a member of one of the great clans didn't hurt either. Well, no, I mean I have been here a little longer than Hitsuge Teicho, but yeah, what is there to know? Rangaku asked, only to get patted on the shoulder from the former captain. Seriously, what is it, Yoruichi-san? It's probably better you don't know. Most people shudder, and really only Squad 11 knows the most or the closest to truth rumors, Yoruichi said, kicking a panel on the floor to reveal a bottle of sake. Oh, my stash is still here, who knew? You hid Seiken Squad 10. Also, how the heck have I never found that I can find good stuff with my nose any day of the week? Rangaku was confused and Yoruichi's smirk was not helping as she pulled the cork out with her teeth, spitting it out so that it landed between the lieutenant's cleavage. Gulp! Yoruichi chuckled as she took a swig of the bottle, letting the fire run down her throat. Let me have some if you can get another goal from across the room, Rangaku said, having gotten a whiff of the booze, which looking at her out pile she felt she had earned. Especially if she couldn't have hot springtime with Naruto while he was probably chatting with Ritsu. X break X. Weak blow Ritsu-chan, try harder if you want my head, Naruto shouted with a glee-filled expression while Anohana, whose hair was free of her usual braid, stared into his eye with a grin on her face. Their blades grinded against each other before pushing by each other, Naruto receiving multiple slashes on his back and Ritsu the same. I'll take an arm first, I think. I'd rather you keep your head so you see what I can do to you, Ritsu shouted, screaming her attack as they moved to engage each other again, which would leave yet another crater to be fixed by Kisuke if he ever came back. The only place untouched and would remain untouched was the hot spring. X break X. Miss, give me that bottle, Rangaku said, now a little sloshed as Yoruichi had accepted the challenge and the fun game of cleavage football was born. The former captain had loosened her robes to expose her own, so to be fair, when they made the game, Yoruichi was still winning 4-2. I wonder if it's the booze why I keep missing those massive boobs of yours, Ran-chan. Yoruichi slurred slightly while Rangaku took her next healthy swig. Definitely the booze. Do you think Naruto-kun knows how to properly play with them? The question had both pondered the idea, as neither had been in bed with Naruto in an intimate way. He flirted and showed lots of affection, so why hadn't they moved up to sexy time? I think no. I know he has many skills to show us, but I think we need to make a move first. Want to try it out when we get back to the human world? Rangaku grimaced at the idea of staying in Soul Society now, as while working with Hitsuji was fun now and again. She loved being with Naruto at his home or at school, helping him being a sexy nurse. I haven't told him I put a request in to be stationed in the world of the living, so I can look over Ichigo and Naruto-kun, since the Seicho wants to make sure Aizen doesn't make another move on him or no one makes him join their side. Yamamoto was a leader and knew keeping Naruto under observation was wise, even if a little paranoid. But being beaten by someone after so long put things in a new light. Rangaku was one of the few who put in this request, and the captains would be informed of the request soon and be told who got selected to go and keep an eye on Naruto. Well, it would shock most. Then again, he can still send you your paperwork, as Kuretsuchi has made a handy paperwork transporter. Rangaku's head thudded against the table. If anyone needed proof that Squad 12's captain was evil, that was it. Rumors still went about how he did no paperwork and had his lieutenant do all of it, and that includes the complaints he gets. So too much for an entire squad. Please let me score. Rangaku picked up the cork and closed one eye and poked her tongue out as she took aim. Yoruichi held her top open, and thankfully Rangaku hit her mark and let out a whoop as she downed some more sake. We need more players. Know anybody good? I know someone perfect, my friend. Come on, see if you can keep up despite being drunk. Yoruichi closed her top and ignored the whine from the background. I'm not drunk. I'm tipsy. She defended herself, adjusting her robe slightly. Well, come on then, Miss Tipsy. We have a fellow payer to find. Yoruichi left with a shunpo, and Rangaku wondered if she should let Haniko join them, even though her top was like fur and didn't allow much cleavage. That she'd join anyway. Leaving the room, she took the bottle with her just as Hitsuji came in and saw her out desk along with the whiff of sake. Sigh. At least it's done. I have to be thankful of that. X break X. You know, it's rare I get a workout like that, especially from a fellow doctor. Sacred Su-chan, Naruto said, pushing the tray over in the hot spring. The two of them had, after a couple hours, ended their battle in a draw. Not that either showed the results of the battle after healing themselves. Ritsu had put her hair back into her braid. Thank you, Naruto-kun. It's a joy to get rid of some pent-up stress after so long. I apologize for taking so much of your time. The captain picked up her cup. Oh, don't worry, Kisuke said, we not likely to leave until morning anyway, or nighttime considering time difference and all. So who's gonna get sent to look over me once I head back? Naruto questioned, getting a quirked eyebrow from the captain. This isn't the first time I've beaten the strongest warriors in the lands, only to become an ally. It's good sense to send someone to check on them for a while, especially given the recent betrayals. You certainly are quite wise, but given your age it's expected. Ritsu giggled at her slight jab at Naruto's age. Well, with age came wisdom, but my face maintains its devilishly good looks. I'm sure many would be jealous of this skin, or this body now that I think about it, Naruto said, gazing at his pecs and noting Ritsu was doing the same. She wasn't in any way out of shape either, as the towel did nothing to hide her generous curves and firm bosom. Don't let your eyes wander too much, it would be a shame for you to lose them, Ritsu said with a smile, releasing a small bitter aura, but Naruto just smiled and looked into her eyes, his pupils becoming slits. My eyes only enjoy the pure form in front of me, Ritsu-chan, no need to be embarrassed. Plus, I'm lucky enough to see you in so little, I doubt many other obtain such a chance. Very few do, mainly out of manners or more likely fear. Do you think you can get past the real me, Naruto-kun? To the captain that heals but truly wishes to cut up everyone in her way. To call for blood when I draw my sword, she said, opening her eyes to him as he moved and cupped her cheek. My dear, I don't care what you are. People have quirks, some odder than others, but hey, that's humanity. Plus, I'll tell you something, while body is pleasing to my eyes, a woman's soul is what gets me going, from the purest like Orihime-chan to the darkest. The dark ones because I am an abyss to many. Do you think you can look into this darkness, dear Ritsu-chan? Ritsu placed her hand against his, enjoying the warmth he gave as she looked into his eyes and saw no lie. Soon, Naruto-kun, but I think we need to talk a lot more before I think about those lips of yours, she said as he gave her a smile. I suppose I'll wait for you to kiss me, as girls are the best at making the first move in my life. The returning move from me makes your toes curl, Naruto said, laying back against the spring wall, Ritsu choosing to rest her head against his shoulder and enjoy the silence for now. We'll join Rengoku-chan and the others after we dry off. I think they are having a small party from who is with her right now, Naruto said with a small nod from Ritsu at his side. Who would have thought such a gentle-looking woman was much like him, a beast with a blade that few would ever kill unless equal. X break X. Go, drink up, Orihime-chan, Yoruichi said, red-faced, as they sat in Kikaku's room at the Shiba clan house. You are okie dokie, the young girl slurred as she turned out to be perfect for cleavage football. Despite the fact everyone had missed her somehow, it was a mystery. As such, she had been put on the lightest sake in the house so it wouldn't damage her. Yet namesake still seemed to make her act drunk. It was funny for all the girls. Yoruichi had picked up Orihime as they made their way to Kikaku's house for fun. Soifun had been forced to join once the cat woman got her head under her arm, plus Kikaku was all for it. Nico had joined them too, but somehow Nemu and Issane had been roped into the competition, the former because she was told to find Naruto for testing, and the latter because she said she wanted to find her captain. As a result, all of them were red-faced and rather sloshed on booze as they tried to hit the cork into each other's cleavage, Soifun having needed help from her mentor to make cleavage. Damn, Yoruichi, how did you come up with such a fun game? We could have been playing this for years and had so much more fun, Kikaku said, laughing loudly as the alcohol coursed through her body. I suppose I, like many guys, needed to see more cleavage. That in a fresh bottle I spit a cork out from, Yoruichi supplied as she enjoyed the squirming Soifun in her hands as she tickled her body, as her turn for target wasn't for a bit and they'd sealed her mouth for now so she couldn't complain. No lack of that here. Still, Squad 4 has quite a good pair. I recall Ritsu's set and they could make a few jealous. Not me though. My girls don't have a better, Kikaku said, cupping her chest a little. Ha, size you have, but I don't you have the right firmness Naruto-kun would like. Nico added, having been given a top to play the game, or rather seeing how she was a Zanpakuto spirit, she made herself a new top which was basically a tube top but had a nice elegance to it. What do you say, you mangy cat? Kikaku said with a tick mark, one of which would also appear on Nico's head. Who the heck are you calling mangy, Oba-san? The two started to stare each other down before reaching out to arm wrestle. Bottle or two. Let's not be kittens here, 4 to down one after the other. They had made a small rule not to fight as they had good booze. That would not be a good idea. Bring it on, bitch. Both flexed their muscles as they went against each other, and Kikaku was determined to prove her new arm was as strong as ever. Everyone started chanting go as the two battled. In their excitement, they didn't see Naruto walk in with Ritsu. You know, I did expect this of Kikaku, but I'm more surprised seeing Orihime-chan looking drunk. And I know she hasn't drunk anything. She is very spirited in her behavior, although I'm more interested as to what all these women, my lieutenant, are doing, Ritsu said as Nemu came over holding up a cork. Cleavage football and Ohana Teicho, care to join? We are using some of the Shiba clan's sake. Whose cleavage is the next target? Ritsu asked Nemu, who pointed toward Issane, and Ritsu's smile seemed to grow. She would admit to a few that teasing and unnerving her lieutenant was one of her hobbies. I suppose I can have a quick go. So sadistic of you, Ritsu-chan. I'll find a good seat, Naruto said, moving to Orihime and stop her from stripping. He set her down and placed her head in his lap and started stroking her hair. She was purring within seconds. Right then, while these two go at it, Issane, get your goods ready. The next bottle is one from the better years, Rengoku said as the shy girl with not much hesitance now that as she lifted her chest up. Nemo, are you taking the shot? No, and Ohana Teicho decided she wanted to do it this time while Uzumaki-san watches, Nemu said as Rengoku turned to see Naruto with sweet Orihime in his lap. She was a little jealous but turned back to the scene as Ritsu took the cork in hand just as Issane got a look at who would be throwing. Teicho, what are you doing here? She asked, red-faced from embarrassment as well as being tipsy. Ara, don't worry, Issane, we're all just here to have fun now. Hold your hands steady, you wouldn't want me to miss now, would you? Issane shook her head and lifted her hands a bit higher. Why me? Issane cried as she felt the cork slip into her cleavage. She'd never be able to live this down from her captain, especially with everyone else here too. X break X. Well, I guess this is where we say goodbye for now, Naruto said as he stood with the group at the Senkamen. Yes, we've prepared some spirit exchanges for Inao-san, Ishida-san, and Sato-san. Yukitake said as they stood in front of the huge gate. Ikugo was still in his usual Shinigami wear, now fully healed despite the amount of sparing he did in Squad 11. Naruto had Yoruichi on her shoulder, while Kurama was on top of his head. He claimed it was his spot, which Naruto did agree, as the few times he did let him join his adventure he preferred to stay on his head as gave the best view. Ikugo-kun, this is for you, Yukitake said, holding out a badge for the boy which Kurama took note of due to its odd skull design along with what he felt from it. Being a sensor was one of his skills after practicing after all. That is your substitute Shinigami combat pass. This isn't the first time there has been a substitute Shinigami, and as such we have rules regarding them. The pass is the acceptance of such a substitute. You can use it to become a Shinigami at any time. I only wish we could do more for what you and your friends have done for all of us. You could take look down and cite shame only for Naruto to whack the back of his head. Don't be so down, you could take. We did what we wanted and it worked out in the end. Besides, I expect I'll be getting a call from you not long after we get back home, which reminds me I still have those 3 to deal with. Naruto muttered the last part to himself, getting a chuckle from his furry companions. Indeed, I know we will speak again soon, and thank you for my medicine again. It's getting a lot easier to breathe. Naruto waved off the thanks as the gate glowed brighter and the group walked to Ichigo, staying a few seconds longer to bid farewell to Rukia. Naruto just waved to his new friends, like Nemu, Ritsu, Kukaku, and obviously Rengoku, who he'd see very soon. X. So he's left. What will your decision be for who has sent Yamamoto Satecho? Chajuru Sasakai, Squad 1's lieutenant, asked his captain as they saw the light from the Senkamen fade in the sky. Natsumoto is obvious, as she had gotten to know and trained with him. Her skill will only improve if she remains around him. Kuretsuchi Nemu might be best for keeping us informed, but only one more as Aizen will have his own eyes on who stays around Uzumaki, Yamamoto said, rubbing his pectoral muscle, which throbbed in phantom pain from Naruto's strikes. Here is my final decision, Chajuru. Prepare the Jigokucho. X. Somehow I should have seen this coming, Naruto said as they ran away from the sweeper again. It didn't take long for them to see the light and end up in the night sky over Karakura. They all started to fall before being caught in a cloth cannonball, which turned out to be a floating kite Kisuke had prepared for them. Welcome home, everyone, Kisuke said, sitting down at the front. You're Hara... Welcome back, Kurosaki-san. No doubt you heard about me while you were in Soul Society, the bucket hat man said as the teen looked over him and turned to Naruto, who stared at him, his deep blue orbs glowing in the darkness. Please, forgive me. Kisuke removed his hat and bowed his head at the two, as he had caused both some trouble, especially since Naruto had been in the know longer but was never told about what exactly was inside Rukia. It doesn't matter, I'm not even mad at you. You did what you did because you had to do it in your heart. Despite the trouble, we all got stronger as a result of it, so you don't need forgiveness. But can I ask one thing? Ichigo asked, crouching down in front of the man. Yes. Is the reason you didn't tell me the truth because you thought I'd panic and run away? Ichigo watched as the man blinked before smiling and holding up his paper fan. Of course, Bing Irk. Ichigo, of course, elbowed the man in the face. That is the thing that really pissed me off. You gonna take a crack, Naruto-sensei? Ichigo asked the blonde, who shook his head now with a gentle smile back on. No, I caused him some trouble sending those POWs to him a week ago. I take it they have been difficult to tame and calm down. Naruto questioned, as the clones had not popped, so he didn't know anything. Quite. Hachai is keeping them sealed for the moment, but they have been getting more aggravated every day. Kisuke informed him as he took note of the second blade at Naruto's waist. Naruto Dono, did you pick up a fresh blade while in the Rukengai? Tessai asked with a glint in his glasses. In a way, I found this beauty up on a hill not being used for much, so I acquired her after she sought me out. She's a treat to have joined me in my life. Now let's drop these kids off for the night, as they might still have schoolwork or want to rest in their own beds, Naruto said, getting nods from the passengers. Yeah, but just remember to apologize to Rukia next time you see her, Ichigo said as Ishida left on his own and Orihime got dropped off. Aren't you coming in, Naruto-sensei? Orihime asked as they dropped her off near their house. Not right now, I have a small errand to run, but I'm sure these two can keep you company till I get back right. Naruto nudged Yoruichi and Kurama to go with the young girl, and both obliged. See you later, Hime-chan. Bye for Naruto-sensei. The upbeat girl waved, with Kurama now on her head and Yoruichi in her arms. Hope he doesn't take too long. Orihime pouted a bit before opening the door and walked into a face full of flesh. Orihime-chan, a loud voice said happily as the girl got herself a big hug from her newest friend. X. So, just how are you going to deal with those three? Kisuke finally asked as they got to the candy shop, folding the kite away for later use. The usual way, beat them to submission to get tension out, then talk like adults. I'm going a bit more to my other side to deal with them though, Naruto said, taking his coat and short off, leaving him topless now and Yuru red-faced. You mean Holofi? Kisuke wondered how Naruto's hollow powers worked and if he did have a mask, as Shinji had informed him of when he dealt with Hiyori. To a degree. Now come on, I know you can't resist peeping, Naruto said, slipping down the ladder. Please don't say it like I'm some sort of deviant, Naruto. Kisuke whined with tears streaming down his face. Says the man with the Ika complete collection, Naruto shouted up as he descended. How can he say that? He wrote them. He man cried to himself as he started making his way down as well. I should make an elevator one of these days. Once at the bottom, Naruto stood out, seeing Hachai with his hands together maintaining 3 barriers around the Arankars. How are they, Hachai? Naruto asked, walking next to the huge gentle giant. Angry, I believe I've only seen worse from Hiyori. Will you need my assistance in battle? Naruto shook his head at the man. No, just make a strong level 8 barrier around us, should be enough, Naruto said as the man clapped his hands, dispelling the barriers and chains around the women while creating the huge barrier to keep them inside with Naruto. Need help, Hachai? Tessa asked his former pupil, getting a small nod of respect as he sat beside him and put his hands into the seal as well to help fortify it. Kisuke slipping past as he sat down and took out a lollipop for himself. So how has your stay been? Naruto asked, cracking his knuckles and cricking his neck. The three women, all now free of their binds, took an aggressive stance to the side of him while his skin paled and markings appeared over his eyes and cheeks, the sclere turning black while pupils became yellow, signifying his hollowification. You fucker, what the hell do you think you're doing keeping us trapped here and not even making sure we are still captured for a week? Apache asked Naruto, a little confused about his skin being so pale, but her annoyance was the stronger emotion right now. Well, I had to help heal people and settle while the clusterfuck cleared. You do realize Aizen revealing himself would be a shock, not to mention had you three still been in the Soul Society you'd be dead. Naruto said, walking steadily toward them. I doubt that. Few Shinigami would be able to beat us. The only ones who'd come close are the captains. Mila Rose said, testing her swinging arm with her blade. While enjoying the free show, the urge to hurt him was rising as he got closer. Maybe, but either way there were three of you and more than three able-bodied captains. Wait to my right. Let's see, Yuka was still ill. Soifon was down. Ritsu can't fight as much. Kenpachi was healing. The three captains did I runner, and I knocked down Kamimura and Ichigo dealt with by Akuya. Huh, I guess with me beating the old man you might have had a chance against Shunsui. Naruto said as Apache charged against him, rearing her fist back to hit him straight in his whiskered face. Sigh. We'd agreed to attack together. Sunday to Sunday drew out her sai and got ready to speed forward until she saw Apache's punch get caught barehanded. Good punch, Naruto complimented as the girl tried to push her arm forward, but despite her arm shaking it didn't budge. How the hell did you do that, and why the fuck is your skin so tough? Truth be told, her hand felt a little sore, which was stupid considering her Hiro. I thought that was obvious. Naruto with no warning signs landed a clean hit to Apache's head with his leg outstretched, sending her rolling across the floor. I have the same skin as you right now. Took me a week to get it down though, Naruto said, thumping his chest and lowering his leg. But, you're a Shinigami, how did you learn a hollow technique? That's impossible. Mila Rose questioned the absurdity of what the blonde was saying, but she noticed his black eyes now, ones she had before emerging as an Arankar. Though I'm human, it's easy to mistake that. I'm an impossible human, if that helps explain, Naruto said before he shunpoed next to the dark-skinned girl and grabbed her arm and flung her into her partner. I've been able to deal with my dark side for a long time. Impossible indeed. It will take a lot to cut your skin, I take it. Sunday to Sunday asked, considering her options. Yeah, care to see if you can cut it? Naruto grinned tauntingly while the beast girls got back to their feet and Apache drew her bladed chakram. Don't underestimate us, punk. Mila Rose and her sisters joined in their attack, aimed to hit his arm's ad face to test how much it would take. Before they got too close, Naruto held out his finger like a gun. Bang! Instantly a black orb formed at the end of his finger and fired a zero, splitting the three up. In fact, I respect my opponents no matter who they are. Usually it's my opponent that underestimates me, ladies. Your teacher was the same. Holding out his other hand like his second gun, he started firing small zero bursts. The three utilized their Sunito movements to dodge the blasts, but were wide-eyed at how fast he was firing the beams. Harem-sama did have trouble fighting him. Sunday to Sunday muttered to herself, recalling speaking with her after she came back from the world of the living. She had described a man who was kind but a fierce warrior. Sunday to Sunday, being a keen thinker, had taken that into account once they had been captured so easily. Not to mention the clones he'd left made sure to feed her and her sisters while being restrained. While the others too kept talking about how they'd put him in his place when they were free, the silent snake tried to get what she could from talking. While she dodged more blasts, sending a few bala his way, making him move as well, it became a firing field between him and the three of them. She couldn't get the contradiction that he was all that strength, and yet not an ounce of cruelness that she'd seen from people like Enoitra, Barragan, or Aizen. Harem thanked him for saving her, but she remembered his words when Harem had gave her report. Oh well, I suppose it's lucky you came back alive. Shame he rejected the offer. His words, covered with a smile, only spoke how he wished Naruto had joined him and that he didn't even care if Harem had died. Eventually all this plus his lack of fighting intent made Sunday to Sunday stop moving, as did her sisters, as they formed a trinity around Naruto. Oi, Sunday to Sunday, what's up? Said girl did one thing they didn't expect. Getting down on one knee, she bowed her head. I surrender. What? Both Apache and Mila Rose cried out, seeing their sister given so easily and without even releasing her Zanpakuto. Oh, what brought this on? Sunday to Sunday, Naruto said, once more surprising the girl, as even though they'd met only once he knew her name, unlike Aizen or the rest. We can't beat you, but I know you won't harm us, Sunday to Sunday declared as Naruto raised an eyebrow. I might seem nice, I could be faking and tricking you, you know, Naruto said, getting a nod from the girl as she spoke again. Yes, but you could have easily killed Harem-sama when Aizen saw. When Aizen sent her and Stark sent to retrieve you. Sunday to Sunday then felt a hand on her head that gently rubbed it and tickled her scalp a little. I suppose. But what will you do if I let you out this cage? Try and go back to Hukomundo? Will you go back to Aizen or Harem? Naruto asked as he caught Mila Rose's blade with one hand while Hitfoot hit Apache dead in the face with a large cracking sound of her nose. I can't go back. With it being a weak, Aizen will expect I am a spy even if Harem-sama was to vouch for me. He will not risk it, his character is far too paranoid for that. Sunday to Sunday said, not making any move as Apache rolled on the floor holding her nose, or the fact that Mila Rose was holding back a laugh seeing the girl rolling on the ground. He is the type. Naruto nodded his head before signaling with his hand to Kisuke, who informed the two Kaido users to let the Arankar out, who used Sunito to get out through the small opening, and sat down next to the two while Naruto turned his attention back to the other girls. So, wanna join your friend or continue? GRRR, you won't trick us, you prick. We're still gonna beat you down even without Sunday to Sunday, Apache said as she stared glowing red, building her rising. Mila Rose doing the same. Seeing how things are going, we need to step things up. Thrust, Sirva. Devour, Leona. Mila Rose declared as the wind swirled around the two, signaling their release of their Zanpakuto. Naruto stayed where he was as the air cleared around the two and he gazed at their forms. Apache's body was covered in brown fur. She sported deer-like antlers above her brow. Her feet were replaced with deer-like hooves, and a small tail emerges from where her tailbone would be located. Both her eyes had changed to amber, and both eyes gaining a red outline around them, with small lightning bolt-shaped markings on both sides of her face. Mila Rose meanwhile resembled an armored Amazon warrior, with two claws holding her breasts, an armored thong, an armor-like neck garment, and a pair of boots, which extended to her upper thigh. She gained sharp lion-like fangs, an orange X-shaped mark on her forehead, and a long lion mane with gold highlights. She retained her broadsword, though it changed in size, shape, and color. A deer and a lion. No matter, you don't get along at all, Naruto said as he held out his hand, calling his sword back to his hand. In a flash the blade changed into a pair of flaming gauntlets. See if you fare any better. Both growled, charging forward, not seeing that they really should have quite when Sunday to Sunday did. Outside, Sunday to Sunday watched the scene with Kisuke and the others. He's toying with them still, isn't he? Oh yes, I think he can't help it, Kisuke said, offering the girl a lollipop, which she accepted but didn't taste yet. He's an old warrior who hasn't had many chances to use the strength he earned. Just consider how he's still human but has hollow, Shinigami and Quincy powers. He's too powerful in his own right, so he limits himself to make battles fun, Kisuke said, having roughly made up a profile of Naruto. It's easy to call him a good guy, but I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't do half these things because he was bored and had the time. I mean, he could indeed have killed you all but wanted the fun of showing you the truth about Aizen, especially given he beat your teacher those weeks ago. Sunday to Sunday nodded in agreement as she started sucking her treat. She watched that despite their efforts, neither of her sisters seemed to make any lasting damage on Naruto. He either parried, dodged, or took the hit only for instant healing to deal with it. I wonder how Aion would fare against him if he used his blade. We never used it too much, and let alone from against someone with such power and skill. This is really good, she thought, enjoying the sole flavor of her treat. It took the better part of an hour before Apache and Mila Rose were forced to reseal their powers as they got knocked out, or rather more like collapsed to the floor from exhaustion, while Naruto had a small sweat. So you both okay to keep calm and not try to kill me? Naruto asked the two, both on their backs panting. How can he last so long? Mila Rose asked, slightly annoyed at the lack of progress in getting rid of the smile on his face. Shut up, too tired. Your fault, Apache said, who had her face to the floor. They really are idiots, Sunday to Sunday said, walking over with her next treat in her mouth. Kisuke was glad he found another sweet lover. While stubborn is at times the best kind of idiocy, I was the same for quite some time, believe you me, Naruto said, picking both up and placing them on his shoulders, and turned to Kisuke, who had the gigis prepared and ready. He guessed he'd need them, plus he enjoyed the challenge for creating false bodies for human-shaped hollows. All had Karakura high uniforms, of course. Let's go home. All of us need some food, and I'm sure you'll need time to adjust to the new bodies. You know about Gigi-san-chan? Naruto asked, seeing a small pink in her cheeks despite her hiding her face with her long sleeve, a feature Kisuke had incorporated into her Gigi's uniform. Enough from observations. I just have to slip into it right. Naruto nodded as Kisuke held her body as she entered it and opened her eyes in it. It's comfy, but I feel more hungry now. It's a fresh Gigi. You'll have hunger for normal food while a Risey converter keeps you strong on the inside. Naruto will keep hold of your mod soul distributors for now, Kisuke said to explain while Naruto slipped the other two into their bodies. You're going to keep them home with you in Orihime-chan, along with your witchy? Yeah, I need a bigger house. Know any places? Naruto asked, seeing the growing grin on the man's face under his hat. Well, there is a lovely house just opened in a choice area which is close to the school. From his sleeve, Kisuke handed Naruto, who also gained his own grin, a pamphlet. This will be so much fun. Come on, Sun-chan, tonight you live in my soon-to-be old apartment with my future housemates, Naruto said, leading the girl away with the other two now snoozing. No way, this just can't be happening, Ichigo said aloud as he viewed the moving truck from his window. It had been a couple days since they got back. School would be starting again soon, and he wanted some peace before his duties as a Shinigami substitute. However, his utmost attention was drawn to the moving kin in the house to the left of his. Ichigo knew that the house was a rental property after hours of constant noise from the clinic made the couple living there relocate, and they'd gone through a few different neighbors. The rumors had been going around, though, that someone reached out to the owners and had bought the place up and wanted a quick move into the place. Obviously, Ichigo along with the rest of his family were curious as to who was going to be unfortunate enough to live next to them. Imagine their surprise and shock when their favorite blonde male exited the moving van, along with Rengoku, Harem, Yoruichi in cat form and 3 mystery girls. Isn't this great, my son? Our new neighbors are a fellow doctor and his entourage of beautiful females. Aren't we lucky? Isshin asked his son, slapping him on the shoulder only to receive a punch in the face. This ain't lucky, old man, it's a nightmare waiting to happen. Ichigo just knew with the damned cat being so close to him she would be round to ease him without relent. Oh Masaki, where did I go wrong? Our son can't see the joy of living next to so many pretty girls. Has he gone to the line of desire and only wishes for more males in his grk? Isshin was cut off as Ichigo decided to be tougher and swung his leg out to hit his father's fuzzy face into a nearby wall. I'm not gay, asshole, Ichigo shouted only to get looks by his sisters. Stop looking at me like that, I'm not gay, he was just annoying me. Yuzu patted her big brother's arm. It's okay, Ikai, we won't judge you for your choices. Her sister soon promptly slapped Yuzu on the back of the head. Don't go along with Dad's stupid thought processes, Yuzu. I swear you are getting worse each day, Karin said as Naruto waved the van off, having managed to finish unpacking his and Orihime stuff. He'd contacted her relatives and with some good-natured persuasion convinced them that their sweet Heim would be in good hands. So, hello neighbors, Naruto greeted, slightly enjoying the look on Ichigo's face. Probably didn't help that Yoruichi was on his shoulder and more than likely grinning at the teen. I bet you never guessed this would happen, right? It was a surprise when we learned Ikai Niai's school doctor was going to be moving next door, especially with Orihime-sen joining you as well as your nurse and these mystery girls. Who are they, Naruto-sensei? Yuzu asked, looking up at the blonde. 3 transfer students that I recently learned didn't have anywhere to stay. So seeing as how I would be moving anyway, I decided to let them stay with me, Naruto said as he pulled out a lollipop for Yuzu, which she accepted happily. She always got sweets from the doctor since she was well behaved. Hey, so that's how it is. You do know it looks a little strange with one man in a house full of young women, right? Karin asked, looking right into his blue eyes, trying to stare him down. Well, yeah, but Orihime-chan is my friend as well as Rengoku-chan too, both of which can look after the girls and keep me in line. I'm not an idiot when working with and living with women. Besides that, I'm an excellent host, as I'm sure you'll hear at one point, Naruto said, giving his own stare back at the more sensible sibling. Plus, I know Tatsuki would definitely try to crack my skull if she heard I was abusing my privileges, don't you agree? Yes, she would. Might just steal Orihime too, to live with her as well, but you seem like an okay guy, so I'll let you off for now, Karin said, also taking the lollipop offered. She got them less than Yuzu, mainly due to how they always compared the two of them. Thanks, Karin. Nice to know someone as sensible and not as crazy as your father despite being a fellow doctor, Naruto said as he turned to Sunday, who came beside him. Hello there, who are these people, Naruto-san? Sunday asked, looking over the 2 or 4 now that Isshin had pulled his face from the wall and had grabbed his son's head in a headlock as the girl with long sleeves come over. This is the Kurosaki family, the twins Yuzu and Karin, the father Isshin and the son Ichigo, Naruto said, pointed to each in turn as the girl raised her eyebrow at Ichigo. Is this the boy with the short temper? Sunday asked with a very hidden smirk as Naruto had talked with her about the boy Aizen did tell them about since his appearance into the Shinigami lifestyle. I'm not short-tempered, and can you let me out of your armpit, old man? It stinks under here, Ichigo shouted while struggling try to grab the back of his father's head to flip him over. Stop lying, Ichigo, my pits are as fresh as the morning rose, Isshin cried back as the Arrancar girl watched in amusement. It was not too dissimilar from her sister's constant squabbles over useless things. Speaking of which, I told you I'm taking this room, Mila Rose's voice cried out from an upstairs room it seemed. And I told you, I saw this room first. Blondie said I could pick my room first. Apache rebuffed her sister's statement as Karin looked up at the blonde again with her sweet in her mouth. You'll have your own to deal with, she asked as Naruto scratched his cheek with a small sweat drop. So it seems, Karin, I don't know which of us has it worse. The teen and the man-child, or 2 teenage girls who can't get along despite being adopted siblings. Naruto mused aloud as both Karin and Sunday nodded and the taller girl held out her hand. See, as Sunday, the concealed hand was grasped by the dark-haired Kurosaki girl in respect for her own migraine materials. I suspect we will have an interesting friendship. Yeah, I think so too. Are you going to deal with your idiots soon? Karin asked Sunday as the sounds of thrashing could be heard while Naruto entered the house. No, I believe our landlord had gone to deal with it, Sunday replied, waiting for the inevitable sound. Both of you quiet down, you're disturbing the neighbors. Naruto's calm tone came though, but groans of pains could be heard, which was from said blonde putting both girls' arms behind their backs and flipping them to the floor. And that was quick. Think we can borrow him for my brother and father? Karin questioned, looking hopeful. I believe Naruto-san will have too much trouble with my siblings to deal with your problems. Maybe on weekends, Sunday offered, surprised how easily she was speaking with the human. She never got the chance to meet with many others, outside of the Arrancar, and a lot of them were pigs or just creepy, Shale being the prime example. So, do you think we can come in? Yuzu decided to pipe in, seeing how her father was holding her brother's face under his armpit for the moment. Rengoku popped her head out the door wearing a black top with Nico written on the front and sporting a nice pair of jeans while finishing with a deep red jacket. You can all come in now. Naruto-kun is just finishing with the two upstairs. I have the kettle boiling already. Naruto-kun is making snacks in a minute. Oh great, I'll join him in the kitchen. Yuzu walked through the door and had a quick look at the bare room, which was acceptable considering they just literally moved in. Although as she got to the kitchen she saw it was fully ready. Naruto-san must really want his kitchen ready. It seems the previous owners wanted to have the best kitchen. I paid a bit extra to let them leave their utensils. Must have been so any tenants who lived here didn't have to worry about it. Naruto said, making Yuzu jump and release a cute little squeak. Naruto-san. The blonde smiled down as Mila rose and Apache came in behind him rubbing their shoulders. Sorry, I just wanted to see your kitchen as Ichigo said you cook for your housemates. It's fine, I heard a few rumors on how you're the little housewife in your home. I'd like to see how your repertoire of recipes is for your family. Naruto turned his head to the other girls. Even go and sit with your sister, I need to familiarize with my new cooking partner. Whatever, jerk. Apache muttered under her breath before feeling their hairs on the back of her neck stand up. Turning her head back she saw Naruto deceptively smiling at her while his aura was like when their leader was annoyed at them. Not to mention the huge fox glaring at her with a grin. Care to repeat that, Apache-san? Naruto asked as she furiously shook her head while Yuzu looked perplexed, not feeling anything due to not being the target. Good, now off you go while we make something good for lunch. Both sisters joined Sunday to Sunday in the main room where the others were chatting with Rangaku minus Ichigo, who seemed to be in a staring contest with Yoruichi. How the heck did he do that? It felt so real. Apache held off swearing as Naruto did say he wouldn't tolerate it, and she knew he had good if not perfect hearing. I don't know, nor do I want to know. I can't believe we had to see that again because of you. Mila Rose said accusingly while Apache gritted her teeth at the remark. Don't start again, you two. It's impolite, plus Naruto-san will be quick to teach you a lesson again. Sunday to Sunday said while turning to her new textbook. Having been told they'd be living an average high school life, she wanted to read ahead while the other two showed no signs of getting on top of their studies, even if it was only their first days in Giggies. GRR, why is it you accepted this so easily? Sunday to Sunday, we barely know the guy. Apache half growled out. It was frustrating for her and her sisters to be under a man's thumb so easily, especially one that was so kind. Because he is honest. Sunday to Sunday answered simply while Orihime came into the room on her phone. No, Tatsuki-chan, I'm not living at the apartment anymore. I've moved into a new home with Naruto-sensei. It's even next to Kurosaki-kun's house as well. Huh, wait, why do you sound like you're running, Tatsuki-chan? Tatsuki-chan. Orihime looked at her phone and saw that her friend had hung up. Orihime, said girl, looked out the window to see Tatsuki running toward the house looking quiet and enraged, like an angry Oni after a human who invaded its land. Eep. Orihime knew that look and headed into the kitchen to hide from her friend. Naruto-kun, Tatsuki-chan is heading here looking angry, hide me. She squeaked out, grabbing his back. Did you tell her that you moved in with me at this new house? He asked as she nodded quickly and sighed while handing his utensils to Yuzu, who was for the moment observing, having cut up all the vegetables. Come on then, we'll explain it to her. Walking into the room with the girl behind him, he opened the door as the tomboy was pulling her fist back. As I'll often do at most fight, Orihime, meet your threats head on. Like so. Focusing his chakra to his forehead along with a subtle amount of higher, he pulled his head back and gave the incoming fist of Tatsuki, and a large smacking sound echoed in the street. Oh team, what the hell was that? And why did you get in my way of knocking some sense into Orihime for not telling me she was moving in with a teacher? Tatsuki asked, rubbing her red and swollen hand. Seriously, it was harder than anything she had even hit before. Well, it was a spur-of-the-moment move considering the transfer students I ended up with. Besides, Orihime's too sweet for the blow you were aiming to give her, Tatsuki-san. Anyway, feel free to come in, I'm making snacks. Naruto said as Orihime's eye light up. Please let them be normal, Tatsuki prayed to herself before noticing the other girls. Yo, I take it you are new here, then. Pretty much, got lumped with this bozo for now, could be worse. Apache said, still miffed on how Naruto stopped her argument with Mila Rose. She was starting to win. She wasn't, as there were no winners in their arguments. Yeah, when he first arrived in town I tried to kick him in the head. Sadly, he's a lot stronger than I expected. Tatsuki recalled their first meeting and subsequent ones with Orihime as well. He was an okay teacher, if a little weird and in his own world sometimes. Plus, he seemed to keep her friend happy and well fed so she didn't have to worry. We got that too. We tried fighting him when he met, and he outclassed us. Naruto-sensei is not what we expected in any manner, Tatsuki-san. Sunday to Sunday as she looked over the girl, getting a feel of her Ryatsu. While limited, it seemed compressed, so hadn't actually used or accessed it yet. So you're a fighter. You any good? Apache seemed intrigued by the girl's fighting aura. One thing Apache did love was a fight, a proper one with fists. Tatsuki grinned as she clenched her fists. While I'd claimed to be the strongest girl in Japan, I can't, since an injury kept me from winning and proving my title. You a bit interested in the matching of fists? Truth be told, aside from the occasional beating of thugs, she hadn't had a good challenge in a while. If you're going to scrap with Apache, take into the back, Tatsuki-chan. Naruto's voice called out to the girls who got up and headed into the back. The Arrancar was curious to how strong she still was in her giggly body. "This I got to see, you coming Sunday to Sunday?" Mila Rose asked the girl who shook her head at her sister joining Orihime on the couch. "No, I'll wait for snacks and see who has won later," the girl replied as she let Orihime take control of the TV. She was still learning about modern technology, and so far she really liked what she was seeing. Before long, Naruto came back out with various dango sticks, special chili and jam ones for Orihime and surprisingly Mila Rose, who seemed to enjoy the unique taste. Both her and Naruto headed to the back to watch the two fighters in the back. Tatsuki seemed to be having lots of fun trading blows with Apache, grappling each other trying to gain dominance. "She is really holding her own, that girl," Mila Rose commented looking as Tatsuki elbowed Apache in the stomach to get out of her headlock. "I haven't known her long, but Tatsuki is a strong girl. Before I came along she looked after Orihime. I'm thinking of adding her to our group and get her trained up. Things won't stay peaceful for us for very long and I like you are worried about Harem," Naruto said while Mila Rose looked down at this. Her leader would be worried about what happened after they were sent on the suicide mission against Naruto. "Do you think she'll look for us at some point?" she asked as Naruto took out another plate of dango with his quick heat kettle for some tea. "She saved us before we became like this. She is out leader. It was rare that we spent time away from her. So you became a mini family in a way, the elder sister and her younger ones. From the minor conversation we had I saw her as someone who takes care of those important to her. Stark is the same." The dark-haired girl gave him a look at mentioning the primer's name. "You fought the primer?" Naruto nodded as he pushed a cup toward her. "Yes, his spirit is someone I used to know. Still don't worry Mila Rose, if she doesn't look for you, it's because she can't risk Aizen coming for your blood. Like it or not you represent a risk to him with you being with me. I'm somewhat of a fox in his henhouse of a plan," Naruto said sipping while Tatsuki got kicked in the face. They really were not holding back, then again they seemed very like-minded with each other. "Are you willing to take that risk? Even we know how strong Aizen is." The Segundo sometimes referenced how his rule was taken over by him. "It's an obvious question, but why protect someone sent to kill you and by all rights is deemed dangerous by Soul Society?" Mila Rose asked, getting a tad frantic at the end of the confusing Immortal. It was so difficult to understand considering he was completely upfront with them and didn't lie in any way to them, so much different from Aizen. "I take the risk in this path as it is what I always strive to do in life, allow people who are so different to come together and live in peace. My dream long ago was for the world to be united in peace. It's an impossible dream, but if I can help a few even now I am all the more happy for it. Peace is my ideal, my dream, one of so many that I have seen. That is what my Zampa too represents, the dreams of people I have met, both big, small and forgotten." The wind blew in the garden, blowing his hair slightly. "I'll fight to protect my dream, and I will never turn my back on people I know don't deserve punishment for existing." Mila Rose and a now eavesdropping Sunday to Sunday overheard Naruto and now became cemented in the idea that they had been picked up by a wise and gentle soul who only wanted the best for those he saw as a friend. "Draw." Both Tatsuki and Apache called out as they held each other's hands trying to push the other down. Both a bit caked in sweat now but with huge grins on their faces. "Wow, I've never seen another girl fight Tatsuki to a draw before," Orihime said with her cheeks filled with dango, sort of like a cute squirrel. "Apache-san is really strong. I'm just honestly surprised how tough that girl is, yet if you look as a slim figure. Naruto-kun, isn't she the one you want to pair with?" Like she was cut off by Naruto nodded but nodded subtly to Tatsuki walking toward them, throwing them both a towel. "She is, but I can't let either know. His father knows and hopefully we can guide them to see how well they match." "So you two heading for the showers then?" Naruto asked, paying attention to the two. "Yeah, Tatsuki gave me a decent workout for a change. Might have to fight her again sometime so I don't lose my edge," Apache said, glad that throughout the fight they had not resorted to snapping at each other, just a straight fight. "Same here, plus it'll help me keep on top of being Japan's strongest high school student, although I might have a tougher opponent this year if you join the competition, Apache-san." Tatsuki said, recalled how Naruto said Apache and her sisters would be transfer students. She would have someone else to beat down Chizuru most like to score. "We'll see now, I need to get washed." "Oi Naruto, there's shower wash and shampoo in the bathroom now, right?" Unknown to the girls, Naruto had used the distraction to get clones to run out and get a few extra essentials like ingredients and toiletries. "Yeah, there's a variety of both, use what you like. I'd say take come clothes to change into as well, Apache." Naruto had gotten them plenty of clothes judging what their styles would be. Sunday to Sundays, for example, all had a way to hide her face, be it a tall collar or long sleeves, usually the latter. He'd be giving them an allowance once it started schools, in case they wanted to eat out of try out what Karakura had to offer. Both Apache and Tatsuki headed upstairs to shower while the rest remained downstairs to eat dango and enjoy what TV had to offer. Yoruichi was loving the petting with her dango especially. Naruto just smiled at the small changes already happening to the three, especially how little time they've had together. X break X. "Good morning class, today we have 3 new students joining us for this year. Please introduce yourselves. Masato Achai, the teacher of Ichigo's class, said as the three Arrancar stood in their uniforms in front of the class. Sunday to Sundays had long sleeves as per her request. A few girls were jealous of the three new girls for their exotic looks. Apache's eyes, Mila Rose's skin, and Sunday to Sunday's Mo look with her sleeves. The looks of the people as they walked in made Naruto, Rangaku, and Yoruichi giggle to themselves, since none of them really ever had guys and girls look up at them. Yo, I'm Apache, mess with me and I promise you'll regret it, Apache said, smacking her fist to her palm. A few guys flinched, seeing how she seemed a lot like Tatsuki. Hey, name's Mila Rose, nice to meet you all. But yeah, don't think you can deal with all this without pain. Mila Rose gave her girls a little lift, resulting in a heavy nosebleed from Chizuru at the back of the class. Hello, my name is Sunday to Sunday. It's a pleasure to meet you all. Please treat me well. And forgive my sister's behavior, it's a lot to deal with, I know. Sunday to Sunday gave a small bow while the other two cried out for their statement, knowing that Sunday to Sunday had a smirk hidden behind her sleeve. Well then, take your seats, you three. Uzumaki-sensei informed me he's been trying to get you up to speed from where we are in class. Emalu-san, take your seat next to Arasawa-san. Francesca-san, you'll be next to Inao-san, and Sina-san, you're next to Kurosaki-san, Masato said, shaking her head at the odd transfer students that arrived. According to Naruto, they were adoptive siblings, having become so at an early orphanage and stuck together. Sunday to Sunday turned to Ichigo, who nodded at her with his usual scowl. You really gonna stay here at school? He asked quietly while Masato took the register. Naruto-san believed it would help us adapt better to our setting. I for one do not mind it. It's interesting seeing how the human world lives, that and your behavior with your family is amusing. She enjoyed the small tick mark Ichigo tried his hardest to suppress. The lesson went well, since being separated across the class there was little incident with Apache and Mila Rose, both of which enjoyed discussing his subjects when curious. By the end of class, Orheim and a few of them were heading to Naruto's office. Said man was in his chair as expected, although he seemed to be painting right now. What? I get bored when there's no patience, and Rangaku-chan wanted to see how I paint, Naruto said as he showed the nice mountain painting, although Rangaku wanted something very different when Naruto said he'd paint for her. So how were your morning class, girls? Rangaku asked the three Arrancar who took their lunches from Naruto. Each was specified to their tastes. Apache's with more vegetables, Mila Rose with more meat, and the same with Sunday to Sunday, but hers easier to swallow. Went fine. It's weird being in there, but I'll get used to it, Apache said, digging into her potato salad. Yeah, but is that Chizuru girl a little? Mila Rose waved her hand, reference how Chizuru was an open lesbian. She'd tried groping her but was denied by her sister and Tatsuki. She's very enthusiastic, although leaving so many buttons undone might not help Mila Rose, Naruto said as the girl did expose a bit more cleavage than most with her shorts top 2 buttons undone. Sure, it was too tight if I did, Naruto-san. She can grope if she thinks she can handle them. Mila Rose giggled to herself at the new fun idea of teasing the lesbian. What did you eat to get those? Tatsuki asked, looking over the group. Seeing the chest on Mila Rose despite muscle tone on the girl, she knew a fighter when she saw one. But Tatsuki was curious on how a girl got so busty despite looking so buff to a degree. Red meat and a few other things. You sure you want something like these, Tatsuki-san? After all, you see what sort of attention they get. Sunday to Sunday explained to the girl, knowing it was of no doing of their own how their bodies developed. I guess just curious with how toned her muscles are. Also, Naruto-sensei, isn't it weird having so many girls live in your new house? Naruto tilted his head a moment while eating his sausage, moving it away from Yoruichi's mouth. Well, I've led an interesting life. It was only a matter of time before something like this happened, so it is weird, but a weird I very much like. You can still move in if your parents agree. He knew that Tatsuki was worried for her best friend despite knowing Naruto was a good guy, so offered her a room. So glad Kisu got him planning permission for extensions. The street was perfect for extensions as the house next to them went up for sale. Such luck was only possible for him if you think about it. I'll talk with them tonight. It'll be a surprise that I'd move out so soon, but it would be nice to live closer to friends and be able to visit my parents with relative ease, Tatsuki said, eating some of her mother's onigiri. Just tell them I'll be keeping an eye on your grades and be cooking for the house. It's going to be fun turning it into an inn by the end of things. Maybe I should get a kimono to go for simple landlord look. He wondered, recalling a character from a manga he read recently. With it being free board too, I don't think they'll be complaining at all. Plus, I can show Apache the dojo I go to easier. Think you could show some of the guys the strength of women as well, Apache? She asked the girl, who grinned. I return. Like you need to ask. I'll be earning a black belt in a week. Apache was surprised she got on with a human so well, but being so like-minded she couldn't really care since there were few to have a good normal spar with back in Huko Mundo. The closest was Grimjow, and he was a prick to her and their leader. It's good to hear. I'll be seeing how things go for next door. I may have work done while we are at school so it won't disturb us too much, Naruto said, already considering making a hot spring for everyone. Wouldn't be too hard for him to work around, plus it would produce interesting results. Never let it be said that an Uzumaki does things halfway. It will always be to the maximum effect. Hence why the Uzumaki Inn will be an amazing addition to the Kurosaki Clinic. Just make sure you don't cause any trouble in the town, but have fun all the same, Naruto said before thinking about later on. Who wants takeout tonight? The girls plus the cat raised their hands, mainly due to wanting to try different foods of the world. He'd go for Chinese. He loved his battered sweet and sour pork. It went amazing with his ramen when he mixed cuisine, the amazement of adding new things to the food of the gods. I'll get the menu out when we get home. It'll leave you some time to see if you parents give you the okay, Tatsuki. Said girl nodded as they continued to chat about food and other normal things. Such was the average school student life. At least for some, Ichigo kept getting called for his Shinigami duties. Thankfully Kon knew better than to act out when Naruto was in the school. X. You sure you want to have another spar, Apache? Naruto asked since the girl had requested another match with him once they got home. Yes, well I guess I don't mind being here a bit safer. I still want to prove myself. If I can best you one day then I can maybe be on Harem Sama's too one day. Apache was like Tatsuki, a girl of action, someone who preferred to convey certain things through her fists. Naruto represented a new goal for her, which coincided with her current one. To a degree she wanted to try and understand his character better as he was too contrasting of a man. Oh okay, when you're ready then. Naruto spread his feet and tossed off his lab coat for Rengoku to grab. Come get some. He taunted slightly as the girl charged in, with her leg raised not too high as she knew he'd dodge. He still did but also redirected her force by gripping her ankle. While their battle started, Sunday to Sunday looked through the menu for Chinese food Naruto had. The different names needed translating by Orihime to what the dish was like. How can something be both sweet and sour? They are conflicting flavors. A rather simple question for where food was concerned. Oi Mila Rose, wanna join us for a drink? Rengoku asked as Yoruichi got dressed and sat down with a bottle of sake and glasses in hand. The three cats of the house all grinned at the prospect of drinking. Sure, why not? I could use a glass. Normal classes are so boring. No excitement aside from lunch and a couple other things. Said things including many guys fall over from starting or Tatsuki and Apache beating more of them into the ground for trying to grab. Great, all the better when more of us drink. Sort of wish Kikaku could join us though. Yoruichi said, slightly missing her drinking partner. Soifon too, as Orihime was at times clueless to her teasing, sweet innocent teen that she was. Even then the time she did get her to blush was a result of mentioning Naruto when she'd seen him naked. The fight continued with Naruto, with him just directing Apache's attacks. He actually enjoyed how she adjusted her attack pattern as she learned how he defended himself. Maybe he should get a stick like an old kung fu master to teach her at the same time. Could be an excuse to use his beard on his face again. He liked stroking it and looking very wise. Eventually Tatsuki did arrive with a bag or three, which her parents had dropped off but did say they'd talk over the phone a lot. Plus she'd have to keep her grades up too since they were letting her have a bit of independence. She came upon the scene of Naruto sparring with Apache, having moved on to trading fists in a slight blur. It really did shock her the first time they met, with her trying to kick him in the face. You could only imagine her surprise when he so easily took on her kick and didn't get angry at her, even more surprise when she found him to be friendly with Orihime. After he entered the school there seemed to be less dull moment at lunchtime and someone to actually try out some of Orihime's strange ideas that somehow were still considered food. If she had heard he was going to buy a house for them to move in with him in Orihime, it would only be him that she'd trust, not to mention being so close to Ichigo's home. Speaking of which, where was that orange-haired boy and his ever-present scowl? You really are a tough old bastard, aren't you, Naruto? Apache said, smirking a little at Naruto, who didn't seem to have even broken a sweat, mainly due to he cheated. By circulating both wind and water around his body he kept it very cool so it didn't sweat much. Tough and old, yes, a bastard I certainly am not, trust me I know. Anyway, you go for a shower and I'll see that the others want for their food, you can choose afterwards, okay? Apache gave a small nod as she wiped her forehead, drenched in a fair bit of sweat, not to mention her short too, almost exposing her sports bra-clad chest. It does suit her well though, that and the spats too. Naruto wondered to himself as he took the cup of sake offered to him by Rengoku and joined the trio. So you had a look at the menu? He asked the girls. Mostly. Mila Rose has gone for beef chow mein. I'm going with chicken and oyster sauce and water chestnuts. What about you, Rengoku-chan? Yoruichi said as the woman glanced at the menu again. I think I'll go for the chicken feet and the char sui bao, she said while Naruto pulled out a notebook to jot down their orders. He'd have to ask for extra pork crackers. But he didn't mind paying for a good takeout now and again, even he got tired of cooking from time to time. Everyone needs a break from it all now and again. By the time Apache came back wearing her jeans, shirt and jacket, she quickly picked out a nice set of ribs and some egg fried rice and sweet and sour prawns. To say the Arankar, Shinigami and humans love their takeout buffet would be an understatement. Naruto definitely could cook better, but the selection of dishes Naruto had ordered along with their own would mean nice leftovers for their lunches for a week. However, by the end of the night there was a ring at the door and Naruto moved to answer it. Opening the door he found Nemu in a school uniform with her usual blank face. Naruto-san, Kuretsuchi-sama and Yamamoto Satecho send their regards and hope you accept me into your home for observation as well. She bowed her head and Naruto shook his head at another girl for his soon-to-be-in. X. Seriously, your house is almost an eroge in the making, Naruto-san. Can't say I'm not jealous of you. Shiny said while Naruto visited his hideout. He had a clone at the school. Sunday to Sunday had joined him with Nemo mainly because when he said he'd be visiting she wanted to meet the people Aizen had exiled and hollow-feed by his actions. I can hardly deny that claim, although the paths would be very complicated to complete, let alone going for the harem option as funny as it sounds. Naruto drank his coffee, which Shinji made with the machine he bought for them to use. They were in the dining area, so much more respectable now that his clones had renovated the whole inside of the building. Most of the other visitors were enjoying their new console that he'd got them after getting back. Love and Rose had once more claimed him as their god of both writing and all things fun. Still, housing some of Aizen's Arankar in your house is a strange move, even more by moving so close to Ichigo. It might make it easier to put one of us closer to him when his hollow acts out. Shinji knew that the teen wouldn't always be able to call back the power of his hollow. He should accept it like I did long ago. When you stop seeing things from black and white, so much of the world opens. Why else would those girls not try to kill me? The answer is simply I don't judge based on what I see. It's what I feel from them makes me know they are like you and me, just souls who desire a simple life, with a few tweaks here and there. Naruto knew it was easy to see things from a good and evil perspective, but he after so long a life grew a greater dislike for it from his own experience and watching people start wars because people were perceived as evil. Hollows in early stages were hungry and confused. Those who relished in pain of others went to hell like they deserved. To those who had matured and were simply not fighting for the sake of war or domination, he wanted to befriend. He only wished some people could forget their aggression against others. The Quinces were one such of an example. He had tried discussing on how a slight change would allow the spirits to be freed, but the fool of a king refused to hear reason and thus he separated from them. He wondered what became of most of them, as Uryu and his father were what seemed to be left. Shinji, not being a mind reader, didn't know what Naruto was thinking and just wondered what other crazy stuff would happen now. And when was the next cart game out, he wanted his new game even more than the next Warriors game. Sunday to Sunday meanwhile was talking with Lisa, who was showing her some of her more mature collection, all signed by Naruto obviously. Humans can bend into such positions. The slightly blushing girl asked while Lisa smiled at the Arankar. Being essentially her spiritual reverse from Hollow to Shinigami, she liked how normal her interaction and curiosity was. Plus, having another girl to chat with and show off her stuff to was fun. Bashiro's brain didn't seem to be able to comprehend the beauty of the Uro. At least she hoped not. So much enthusiasm might spur Kensei to lock his door and barricade it from his lieutenant. She'd have to test and film that at some point. It would make a great home movie. Yes, Sun-chan, girls usually are more flexible than men, but Naruto-sama does probably possess the talent as well. Lisa said, not using the more familiar suffix, as said blonde wasn't in the room and he didn't like the praise too much. Well, he liked it from her, but less from the odd pair of Love and Rose, who he has joked really should have gotten laid some time ago. Bending so your leg is behind your head. Having the slight nature of a snake, Sunday to Sunday found no problems in putting her leg behind her head with no signs of discomfort. Well, now that's impressive. Why do you hide your cute face, Sun-chan? Lisa asked as the girl turned her eyes toward her. It's more fun. Sunday to Sunday and Lisa eventually joined the ongoing fighting game tournament. The current match of Rose against Mashiro was in her favor, with her character releasing a charged beam of Kai. Apache would like this game. The Arankar muttered, thinking that the game would be a good way of settling arguments or making more of them now that she gave it full thought. Why are they so troublesome? So, what do you think of our odd group? Lisa asked while the tournament continued. Odd is the perfect word for it. From all reports, I never would have thought captains and lieutenants would act like this after being cast out. I find it uplifting in a way. Sunday to Sunday said, seeing Mashiro jump for joy and Hiyori looking like she wanted to hit the screen. Which she just might have done, if not for Love, restraining her in a half Nelson. What way? Just confirming a small suspicion I have been starting to have. That man really doesn't do things for his own gain, but for others and for joy. It's different from we've ever been used to. A part of me knows Harable-sama will join us with Naruto's help, despite the risk to his life when going against her and Aizen. Sunday to Sunday explained while Lisa nodded at her assumptions of Naruto's character. He is bizarre in how he does things. As you know, the whole place we have now was once a dump. But just a couple of days knowing us, we had a home we really did enjoy living in. I imagine things would be much more dull if we didn't get some help from that blonde stranger. Looking at Sunday to Sunday, she held out her hand. Wanna spar for a bit? You know, I don't think I'd mind that. Only Shikai though, Lisa-san. Sunday to Sunday got to her feet and walked to have a battle. Two new friends made so quickly, it was a surprise but a very nice one. Naruto himself had decided to leave a clone while he found another part of the area to train in. Well, one Bankai took me 100 years. Let's see if the next one can take a little less, Saokyoku-chan. Naruto said, drawing the blade out and concentrating the spirit to the blade, flinging it out as the phoenix appeared and bowed to him. I'm sure you'll pass the challenge a lot easier, Naruto-san, but I won't go easy on you. She flared her wings out as the heat hit his face, to which Naruto drew out Yum. Wouldn't be worth it if you didn't. Yum was the same for some time. I know it'll be fun all the way though. Here I come. Naruto charged forward, hoping he'd be able to take breaks as he was on cooking duty again when it was time to go home. As we turn our attention to a young Orihime for this moment in time, aside from thought that would make most turn their heads 360 degrees to try and understand her, Orihime was currently very happy with her life. For several reasons, in fact. First off was the cool new house she currently was staying in. Second, Naruto increased number of friends with Sunday to Sunday and the others. Thirdly was her best friend Tatsuki now living with her. 4 was having such delicious food, and others who got why pickle mustard wrapped in bacon was good. And finally the man who changed everything, Naruto. The blonde who was currently cooking up a storm for all his house guests brought a smile to her face. To think a blonde stranger she met in the store would quickly become such a big part in her life. It had not taken her long to compare him to Ichigo when they met, but while it was easy to see the differences, it was difficult to truly see how similar they were. They had a code to protect those close to them, drew her heart towards them. But spending so much time with Naruto made her look at her crush differently. Ichigo, while strong, had an aura, sometimes felt sad, but he didn't seem to want anyone to bear the burden. Naruto meanwhile also shouldered something, but he was happy to let people help him, or in her case help her be stronger, even if it was just a healer. It made her wonder how she felt about Naruto. Was it more like admiration or something more akin to affection? She wondered if she should talk to Rengoku or Yoruichi, who seemed the closest to him most of the time. Fun fact though, he had made good on his word and Naruto had begun to wear a traditional kimono around the house. It made for an amusing scene when Apache challenged him for a fight and he fought her in the kimono. Tatsuki had started to fight him as well when Apache tired herself out. She had not even scored a single hit. Sunday to Sunday and Mila Rose were content to just watch him fight, the former trying to figure out a good way of copying his style as it was fluid like a snake. "Oh, Orihime-chan, you all right there?" Naruto said, looking to the girl lost in thoughts. I'm fine, Naruto-kun, just wondering how long the food will be." That, and she wanted to see if he would give her a taste. She liked it when she got to try the food first. Luck was on her side, or her cute charms, most likely the latter, as her favorite doctor liked her smile. "At least that's what makes sense when he returns my smile. Maybe 10 minutes, just finishing off the stuffed lotus root. But I have some dorayaki for dessert though. Here, try this mini one." He lifted the small treat for Orihime, who lapped it up like a puppy offered a treat. She only needed a pair of ears and a wagging tail to complete her image, which she did have from her training sessions from Lisa. Orihime sunk her teeth into her cream-filled snack. The pancake was very fluffy and had some mitarashi sauce on it as well, so even better. "Would you help set the table, Orihime-chan?" The girl nodded as she retrieved the plate, as he had made oden for the house tonight. Of course, there were extra additions for people of Orihime's tastes. Thankfully, Naruto didn't have to tell any of his houseguests when food was ready, as the smell always drew them to the dining room. A place when arguments between Apache and Mila Rose were kept to a minimum, as both didn't want to lose out of the dishes. The hot pot dishes he made were good, as there was a good blend of vegetables and meat, but everyone would agree that his ramen recipes were the greatest they ever tasted, low in fat too. As everyone sat down for their meal, there was a ring at his door, making a few mentally groan. No one ate unless everyone was at the table, a rule he put in which meant the houseguests had to wait till Naruto came back. "Who the heck arrives at this sort of time?" Apache asked aloud, wanting to dig in, with Sunday to Sunday next to her and Tatsuki to her right. "Whoever they are, they better have a good excuse for disturbing mealtime. It smells too good right now," Tatsuki said, in agreement with her new friend. To their utmost joy, Naruto returned and sat back at the table, filling his plate and signaling the start. "Who is it, Naruto-kun?" Rengoku wondered, seeing something in Naruto's kimono sleeve. "Letter from an odd messenger, but mealtime is now." "I'll read it afterwards, don't worry, Rengoku-chan. Pass the soy sauce." Naruto was trying to figure out the reason why he got a message, which bore a particular seal on it. It wasn't until a few hours later Naruto took the letter out again, with Sunday to Sunday sitting next to him and Nemu observing, as she tended to do now. He knew the crazy captain had recording devices in her. Sadly, his house had been sealed to prevent any signals being received on his devices. Sneaking into the barracks was child's play for a master ninja when he was still there. The seal recorded changes to the password, so no trouble hacking in. Anyway, back to the letter. Naruto had been looking at it for several minutes now, making Sunday to Sunday poke him in the shoulder. "Why don't you open it, Naruto-san? It could be important." Naruto just looked at her and let out a sigh as he turned the letter and showed the wax seal, which had a swirl on it. "It is important. This is my personal seal for letter even now, but I didn't send this. Most likely something really annoying will happen when I do open it." Using a small wind blade at the end of his pinky, he broke the wax seal and opened the letter. To Naruto Uzumaki. "Greetings from a fellow blonde and Naruto. Yes, that's right, you're getting a letter from yourself, isn't that great? Anywho, I'm a Naruto, sorta connected to Parallel World, and found that your world is currently about to go through the events of the 5th Grail War. I know that you know all about it. After all, you one of the old Narutos, except you a bit more fun than some of the others. Trust me. I associate, and I wish you request for you to add some fire to the ongoing war, or rather put some out with your talents as a healer. Help will arrive once you enter Fayuki City. Be kind, as she'll be a bit shy around you. Take a couple of your house guests too, maybe the healer girl and her friend, to make sure she is show the world and its mysteries. Oh, and the science girl too, she'll be useful. We both know now that you've been made aware the next war is coming, and you being so close means you'll go to stop any of the fallout from it. It's what I got made to do at one point, but I'm the better for it. Plus you'll see some old friends once you go too, so it'll be a fun vacation full of blood battles and tasty food. All the best, Uzumaki Naruto, apprentice to the director of the clock tower and best looking mage, vampire around. P.S. Sorry if the seals sting. How peculiar. Parallel worlds and timelines, with you being a part of them and a viewer of them. Mayuri-sama would want to study you more closely if he knew this, Naruto-san, if only he would contact me. Nemu said, unaware he was still trying. Only other captains got through, and most of the time it was Yukitake as he volunteered to keep in contact with Naruto. Grail War. Sunday to Sunday asked aloud, not sure what sort of war that entailed. It's a battle royal for a powerful relic that can grant wishes. Supposedly, at least. Feeling a headache, Naruto got a couple glasses and a sake jug for himself, pouring himself a large one. I've only heard of them. Horrible things really, as it summons old heroes of legend to fight each other for a prize they would never likely obtain. I was still out of the country when the last war happened. 10 or so years ago now. Naruto was already pouring his next glass. Left a black mark on the world. Hundreds dies after the outcome, and Fayuki was struck off my list of places to work at. The whole city put me off when I went there one time, but it seems I'm being forced to work there. Naruto felt the stinging sensation on his hand and saw 3 lines come together in a swirl. Command seals. Looking into the letter, it also had details of his temporary position at the local high school and his rented accommodations. All under his name too. It was a good thing the sake was strong, as Naruto wanted to choke the man who gave him the letter, as he was right, he had to go. And here I thought things were calming down, now I'm being sent into a war zone. The whole thing with Soul Society was nice enough and at a pace he could deal with, plus the company it brought made him smile. Having to temporarily move was just aggravating to him. So when do we leave and how do we explain it? Sunday to Sunday asked, as she was hardly going to let the man she was curious of go into danger without her. Based on the details next week. I'll have to make clones of everyone to avoid suspicion. We'll have to show Tatsuki how things are tonight or tomorrow as well. I hate being forced to do something when I know others can solve it. Nemu tilted her head in mild confusion. But if the person sending the letter is you, surely it means he is doing something to take care of it, as you are going to this place. Sound logic, if you didn't take the multiple Narutos into the equation, or end up going cross-eyes in the attempt to make sense or argue her words. I know, that's why I'm taking my sake not out of pleasure right now. Naruto groaned, rubbing his forehead. X break X. So why are we heading to an old candy shop, Naruto-sensei? Tatsuki asked, as after school he told her he had some people for he to meet. My friend lives there, be warned he's quirky and rather eccentric. Naruto said as the tough girl. Tough human girl, as Apache was tough too. Tatsuki just shrugged her shoulders, as her friendship with Orihime she got used to quirky. I wonder if Tessai-sen has any nice snacks today. Orihime wondered aloud as they got to the small store. Yo Kisuke, Tessai, we're here. Naruto called out, and the large spectacles man appeared instantly. With onigiri. Welcome, Uzumaki-san, please help yourself, I just made these. Orihime and Sunday to Sunday were the first to take a rice ball, sweet ones today. So tall, Tatsuki muttered at the wall of muscle that was Tessai. Oya, our guests have arrived. What brings you here today, Naruto? Kisuke said with his ever-present fan. Could it be this one needs to see the world's spirits? Wait, what? Yeah, have a read of this. Naruto handed over the letter to the former captain, whose eyes went over it quick, with pupils dilating at what he was reading. So you received a letter from yourself, but it's not technically you, informing you that another war is coming and suggested you bring the girl along. Do you do anything normal? Kisuke said bluntly, like most would after meeting the blonde. Doubt it. Naruto-san is a unique existence. Strange phenomena happen around him. Nemu's simple words got nods from all except Tatsuki for obvious reasons. Okay, I'm really confused here. What's going on, Naruto? Tatsuki asked, crossing her arms and giving a firm glare at Naruto, despite affecting him very little. Well, you know how Ichigo has felt a bit odd to you, like Orihime-chan too. He got a small nod from the girl. The thing is, we all have powers of a spiritual nature. Ichigo, for example, is a Shinigami like Kisuke, Tessai, and Nemu here. Orihime has strong healing abilities, and I'm an immortal, while Sunday to Sunday is a spirit-turned-hungry beast, spirit-turned-half Shinigami. Really? You're serious? Yeah, the stereo sound of everyone there had Tatsuki tilt her head, then the rest of her as she passed out. Never thought she'd be one to faint. I didn't expect her to faint. Thought she'd be more to punch one of you in the face for stupidity like I would, Apache said, looking down at her sparring partner. Maybe she isn't a muscle-bound idiot who hit before even trying to think. Mila Rose chirped, and making the two butt heads and begins an argument, while exchanging insults. To the shock of no one, they were ignored, as it happened too often. You two should remember that you shouldn't be arguing, especially within a friend's home. Or do I need to discipline the both of you? Naruto turned his smiling face to the pair, who started to shake, as did a few others. Only Orihime seemed to be immune to its effects. Even with the razor-sharp fox teeth in front of her, the rabbit-like ears distracted her. Oh, not again. Why does my humble shop have such a spirit inside it? Kisuke asked, shaking in fear behind Tessai, as he did whenever Naruto's smile was in place. Wait, we're not arguing, right, Apache? Mila Rose said, hugging her friend, who nodded furiously. Yeah, that's right, we're the best of friends, so please stop that, Naruto-san, please. Sunday to Sunday just giggled behind her sleeve at her sister's behavior. Harem would be delighted if he taught her how to do that if they met on much safer and peaceful terms. While the two continued to squirm, Harem moved over to shake her best friend awake, as she knew the best way to wake her without the chance of pain. Tatsuki, there's a thug at the door demanding to fight the strongest girl around here. Quicker than she could blink, Tatsuki was up and fists already clenched, making Naruto stop his illusion on the Touarang car. Oh, you're back with us. Before you ask, no, it wasn't a dream, we all have powers, Naruto said as the tomboy retook her seat. Okay, first. Tatsuki smacked the top of Orihim's head, making her let out an adorable squeak of pain and rub the growing lump. That's for not telling me sooner. I knew I felt something different around you a while ago. Second, why are you all telling me now? Naruto showed her the letter and saw it was the same handwriting as Naruto's. That letter was sent to me by a me of another place, time, and world. It explains that trouble is coming and it would be best if I went along. It also blatantly points out that I should bring you along, no doubt, to develop your own spiritual abilities. So me and Orihime felt it would be best to get you acquainted before we all leave for Fayuki City. Okay, normally I'd be tempted to hit you, but you have always been honest with us and looked after Orihime since you arrived here. But you sure you could help me find out what I can do? Also, how you gonna deal with us leaving Karakura and our absence from school? Tatsuki asked, watching as Naruto crossed his fingers and created several clones, whom in turn hinged into all of them. A non-issue now, come on, I have a way to figure out what it is you can do. Naruto and the other followed him down the ladders and to a degree enjoyed Tatsuki's amazed expression despite how much she tried to restrain it. So how we gonna do this? Naruto gave Orihime a look and whispered in her ear, making her gasp before looking into Naruto's blue eyes and giving him a small nod as he turned back to her. Simple. Do or die. Naruto flung off his coat and rushed at the girl, whose reflexes only managed to save her from a blow. Woo, what's going on? Naruto swung out with his forearm, which was blocked by Tatsuki. Holy, what the hell? How strong is this guy? Tatsuki was sure she heard her bone creak a little as she was sent flying while on her feet. Looking, she saw Naruto wasn't in front of her, but noticing something above and jumped back to avoid Naruto's axe kick, which cratered the floor. Better fight back, Tatsuki. You have 5 minutes before I start using my sword. Naruto knew this was harsh of him, not being as joking as he had been with the others, but a Grail War was not a place for jokes. He knew enough about them and how all masters played dirty with any human life. Such was the way of Magus society. Tatsuki gulped, seeing Naruto, her teacher, attack with blows that could crack the earth. It was frightening. For her, one of the toughest girls in Japan, seeing such a fighter so much stronger than her was making her hair stand on end. Blow after blow she dodged or redirected, but there was no malice in any blow that clipped her and sent her skidding across the floor. But despite that he would attack to strike her down, she felt her body react a bit faster each time he rushed at her. Her blood pumped faster, but her own training kept her breath steady, taking one to center herself. It could have been an hour before Tatsuki felt something stir within her. Something strong, steadfast, and light. What is this? Tatsuki's shocked question came as she noticed something about her hands. Naruto stopped in his tracks as he saw the entity hovering over her. You are a rather strange human, Tatsuki. With Ikigo around, your spiritual reserves began to grow, but your physical aspects were trained each time to balance it out. Part of me believed you had chakra like I do. But looking now, your strength is quite different. He lifted his hand and pointed at the figure. That there is a symbol of you, Tatsuki-san. It represents your strength and your will, powered by your body and soul. In my travels I heard of it and tried to attain it but was unsuccessful, but the sight was awakened at least. You, Tatsuki, are a new stand user. Stand? The hell? Wait. Tatsuki saw Naruto was open and rushed forward with her stand mirroring her movements. Don't know what this is, but take this. Tatsuki's fist connected with Naruto's face, sending him flying across the plains and into a mountain wall. Urgh, good punch. A large fist mark was smoking on Naruto's cheek. Least she isn't a Joestar. Would have needed to grow back a few teeth. He crawled out of the mountain and shaking off the rubble, looking back at Tatsuki, who was on her knees looking exhausted from using her stand along with all the dodging she had just done. Before it vanished, he saw what it looked like. It was a male muscular figure and was bright yellow with spikes along its arms, legs, and head, making it look like a human sun. Maybe she'll call it the sun. Or I'll just suggest her to do that. Decisions. Shrugging, Naruto made it over and picked up Tatsuki and handed her to Rengoku and Orihime so they could drop her in the onsen to heal. Wow, she really clocked you. I want to fight her when she's next ready, Apache said, a little excited seeing her land the blow on the guy she'd been trying to hit. Admittedly, Naruto might have let her hit him as payment for trying to crush her literally under his foot. Really, Apache-san? I'd be more than happy, but seeing that we need to get her trained up first before another spar. Don't want to push her too hard, Kisuke said as Naruto shook his head at the man. Actually, Apache might be the best to train Tatsuki. She'll need to figure out her own power, and Apache trains with her already. The only difference is you won't need your Gigi. I might add some seals to her to buff her defense a bit. Now I need to deal with the paperwork and call a contact to get our temporary house in order. Feel free to join Tatsuki, as you actually are Apache, so you can get her used to a person with a hole that you can see through. Nemu, would you mind helping me as you have good filing skills? Nemu nodded as she followed Naruto up the ladders. X break X. Really, you have this as your car? Tatsuki asked Naruto after a few days of sparing and getting used to her power and buffed up speed from her stand was next to her friends in front of Naruto's Hummer. In my defense, this baby runs of chakra and electricity, so no emissions, plus it has so much room so we can all fit inside. But you know it isn't going to be all fun when we arrive. Nemu, do you have your healing kit from Kisuk? Naruto looked to the lieutenant, who gave a small nod as she climbed into the car, or tank as Tatsuki has called it upon first sight. Urahara-sen made sure to pack extra for you. He also gave us some soul candy too, so we wouldn't need to worry about a quick change. But are you sure all of your copies will be able to accurately mimic all of our behaviors, even Arasawa-san's? Nemu asked, as like most people knew it's very difficult to act like another person. Body posture, language tweaks, behavior and interaction with their peers. To think Naruto would be taking on no less than 6 identities while they were away was intriguing to her. Or at least it would be to her father. Naruto, turning to the girl, opened his mouth. Don't worry about it, Nemu-chan. We'll be back in no time and eating bean sprout porridge with chocolate ramen in no time at all. Everyone looked a little weirded out since Naruto had just pulled off Oriheim's voice to a T, even struck a pose similar for when Oriheim was wondering what food to try next. Wonder if we can use that in roleplay. Yoruichi, and to a degree Rangaku thought, hearing Naruto. It still surprised them both he hadn't taken one of them to bed, but Rangaku could see he wanted them to start it, as with his charms he couldn't probably pull anyone, so instead treated everyone so they feel special, so that they feel confident to ask. Never do that again, Tatsuki said deadpanned. Seriously, it was too real for her, especially having so little experience with the spiritual world. Sparring with Apache, who sported a horn and a hole in her stomach she could see through, was odd enough. Her stand the sun was interesting as she quickly figured out some of the features to her power. Number 1, she needed to breathe to keep it out fully, and any serious damage it took would reflect on her. There were a few tricks she had learned to use with it, but not perfectly. But for some reason, when she had started pummeling back a Zero Blast, she could swear her stand was shouting aura. What? No promises now, get in, we are wasting daylight. I have to introduce myself to the high school tomorrow and scope out everything. Oh, and I will be giving you your homework while we are there. There was a universal groan from them. It sucked how Naruto, among other things, had made sure everyone in their house was getting good grades, even the Arankar siblings. If they didn't do any work, then no food. It was too good, and that's what made it cruel. They couldn't go back to simple stuff now. Yeah, we get it, Apache said, sitting by the window. Rangaku got in the front with Yoruichi in her lap, the rest filing into the car before they set off for the dangerous and mysterious city of Fayuki. The drive down was pleasant enough, but entering the threshold they felt a strange but nauseating sensation. Even Mila Rose felt it, like back when she removed her mask, the feeling that she had to be aware of her surrounding, otherwise she'd be someone prey. Kisuk said the place we rented was cheap since it's apparently close to the local Yakuza, but they are a friendly bunch based on rumors. Yoruichi said while being petted, the tall hill wasn't too much trouble to climb, especially with full 4-wheel drive. The house was your more typical old Japanese house, so all on one level with a large front and likely large back garden. Everyone should unpack their things. I'll head out for some groceries and see what I can find out. Anyone want to join? Nemu came forward and the two set off while the others took their bags inside to pick a room. Fayuki, despite the odd aura it had, was pleasant enough, plenty of people going about their way. So, how have you found living in the world of the living, Nemu-san? We haven't really talked much about it, Naruto asked as they entered the shopping market. I'm unsure how to answer that question. I'm merely here to observe you and record data for Mayuri-sama and Yamamoto Satecho. If I were to say anything on the subject, I will note it as be interesting to see how easily you deal with the strangeness of getting a mission from yourself. But how do you plan to move in the events of this war? Nemu asked, keeping her tone professional, although Naruto was unsure if she had a different tone as of yet. Wait for all of the servants to be summoned. I'll likely be able to summon mine. Closing his eyes, Naruto tried to search out the already summoned servants. Berserker and Lancer, 2 of the 7 had been summoned. It wouldn't be long until the others were called upon, though. We have time to prepare, though, with your skills. Do you think you can set up some surveillance around the city by tapping into the security already there, and some I might add? Nemu nodded, as hacking was among her numerous talents. It would take her less time than it would for Naruto to cook. When they got home, she did just that. Setting up her surveillance system in her room was compact but efficient. Multiple screens showed various places around the city, some of which Naruto helped set up, including some near the church, which he'd felt the need to do very quickly. Seems a little intrusive, doesn't it? Tatsuki asked, looking at the multiple screens. Her stand was behind her with its arms crossed like her own were. Yes, it is. But the last war ended with a massacre, many people dead from the resulting fire. I can't figure out why exactly that would happen yet. This is one of the precautions I'm taking. I have an instant teleportation technique, and the cameras have my mark to move instantly. If any battles take place, I can be there quick, be it on my own or with some of you, Naruto said, flicking to the school camera as the students went home for the day. Only one seemed to notice something different. I'm not comfortable being in battle so soon. I mean, yeah, I can fight on a more balanced field with the sun, but experience-wise Apache has a lot more than me. Heck, even Orihime has more than me. Tatsuki shrugged her shoulder but felt the stand patted in sympathy, something Naruto raised an eyebrow to. Don't be too worried, Tatsuki. Apache does have her experience, but from how you two fight it's clear you could get a feel of an opponent quickly. Plus you have a brain you use more than the muscle head, remember. Mila Rose pointed out to the girl, somehow feeling she had pissed Apache off, who was downstairs with Orihime and Sunday to Sunday. Thanks, Mila. You sure you aren't doing the whole summoning thing tonight, Naruto? Naruto shook his head. No, I don't know what will happen if I summon to. That's not my tone. Looking to his phone, Naruto had received a message: summon tonight, don't worry about it. The me from the other dimension is annoying me. Could have picked a better song for pity's sake. Sigh, I'm summoning tonight then, after dinner. What you in the mood for? I'm for steak. I take mine rare though. Naruto nodded, thinking of how to spice it up for himself. Orihime and Rengoku, Mila Rose would want it plain, as it was pure meat. He'd sort a nice salad for Apache though, but with a substitute meat, or ask if she didn't mind steak. She did like meat, just not as much due to her animal form. Eventually Naruto walked into the back garden and set up the circle, as he knew enough about magic to know how to make a magic circle. Merlin and Nimi were sticklers for that. So this is magic. Don't you need a wand, Naruto-kun? Orihime asked him as he double-checked the ground where he'd made a wood platform appear. Not really. Magic is weird, sort of like a science. That's one branch of it at least. There are things called bounded fields which can let a user set up rules in an area. Currently mine cuts off all access to sensors looking in on us. Now let's see if I remember this right. Taking a breath, Naruto let his reserve switch to using odd from his 100 circuits. Silver and iron to the origin. Gem and the Archduke of Contracts to the cornerstone. The ancestor is my great master Schweinorg. The elided wind becomes a wall. The gates in the 4 directions close. Coming from the crown. The 3-forked road that leads to the kingdom circulate. Shut, 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 shut. Repeat every 5 times. Simply shatter once filled. I announce, yourself is under me. My fate is in your sword. In accordance with the approach of the Holy Grail. If you abide by this feeling, this reason, then answer. Here is my oath. I am the one who becomes all the good of the world of the dead. I am the one who lays out all the evil of the world of the dead. You, 7 heavens clad in 3 words of power, arrive from the ring of deterrence, O keeper of the balance. The seals on the back of his hands burned as a figure started to emerge from the circle, but smoke concealed the figure so no one could see what they looked like. In accordance with your summon, I have come forth. I ask thee, are you thy master? A gentle female voice asked as the smoke was moved out the way, revealing the servant. The figure was 5'2". She had dark blue eyes that held gentleness in them as well as stern. Her hair was blonde and was waist length and braided in a ponytail going along her back. She wore a silver headband-looking plate where the arrow-like part of it covered her forehead. She also had a silver choker around her neck, a black mantle over her shoulders, as well as a dark blue cloth beneath it. Her arms, abdomen, and upper thighs were clad in brightly shining silver armor, glowing in the moonlight. There was also a skirt, which covered all but her right leg. Her legs had black leggings with more armor to the legs and black shoes underneath it. Lastly, in her hand was a long blade in its sheath, as she was in a bowing position as a knight would to a king. The knight was a majestic female who looked closely at Naruto. Yes, I am your master. Nice to see you again, Jean. It's been a long time. Renard, X. For Joan there were forever memories of her childhood in France, tending to the fields like the rest of her family. It had all changed when she received her first visions from the heavens. Saint Michael was one of those she saw, telling her to drive the English out. She had joined the army after gaining support to visit the royal court of France and offer her predictions to them, gaining her armor and leading the French to victory in Orleans. During her time, though, she met a strange man who went by the name Renard, a blonde male who didn't shun her when she rose in ranks. Renard became a close friend and someone she sought counsel with when out of battle, but he was a strong soldier through and through. She had missed him and their conversations after her capture by the English, and even more so during her trial. Her beliefs held true, as she knew she had done right by her lord, and if he wished for her to be a prisoner, then so be it. On the day of her execution she remembered the jeers she got, but she refused to be dragged, only wishing she had her cross to hold. But she did receive a cross from an Englishman, but as she thanked him they saw Renard in the crowd, and she couldn't help but feel it was his parting gift to her. Part of her knew if she had taken a different path she might have had a life with that man, but the fact was she chose to take up the sword. That path introduced her to Renard, to her friend, and she would just hope she saw his face again one day. A wish she held during her time in the Throne of Heroes, always looking out for that blue-eyed man with the gentle heart. Imagine her surprise as when she was summoned as ruler for the 5th Grail War, and to see the same eyes of compassion and care. Renard. Ah yes, I forgot I changed my name to Sweet France back then. Yes, it's me, Jean. It's been a long time, maybe more so for me. Come on, I think you deserve to be fed first. Naruto said, coming over and offering his hand, which Jean took no trouble in taking. His grip was gentle yet strong. Renard, you said you changed your name. If so, what is it? Uzumaki Naruto. X. It took a bit to explain who he really was to Jean, who to the shock of many was the Saint Joan of Arc, hero of France during the 100 Years' War. But it was her who was more shocked, seeing her immortal friend and the people he had surrounded himself with who had such strange powers. For Tatsuki and Orihime though, it was a bit weird even for them to see such a historical figure talk so peacefully. Both knew the hardship of Jin, but to think Naruto was there even during the 100-Year War just let them know how aged he was, but also how kind he had remained throughout it all. So, France is free, I am thankful for that, and to see you again, Naruto. But you have summoned me for this war, correct? Jin asked the blonde, now having changed her clothes. Being only a bit bigger than Tatsuki, she was now in a comfy pair of jeans and a pure white shirt. Yes and no. In a way, I've been forced into the war for someone's amusement, but being here I may as well make a difference. What class have you been summoned under? Naruto asked after shrugging his shoulders, not wanting to go into depth of how he came to summoning his old comrade. Ruler. The Grail has selected me as ruler. I believe the counterforce is in effect too. Something feels wrong with the Grail. But as ruler I can use the command seals to call all other servants together, and other masters cannot read my stats. Plus with the mana you provide me I feel quite strong, as can be qualified for the Saber class too. Jin explained as she ate some of her steak. She was enjoying it immensely, as one would if they were from the past and brought to the wonders of 21st century cooking. That will be useful, but considering yours and my inclusion in the war, we'll have to be sneaky about our operations here. Only Berserker and Lancer have been called so far, so we have time to plan out our moves, but also time for you to get properly adjusted. Don't want you getting lost in the city, do we? Naruto said, getting a nod of appreciation. The meal continued as normal, but when night came Jin joined Orihime and Tatsuki in their room. So you knew Naruto-kun in the past. That's so cool. Is he the same now, or has he changed a lot, huh? Orihime asked, nearly bouncing on her knees in excitement. Well, Naruto feels the same, but I think that's just how he is. He has that friendly aura, but it's welcoming too. It was pleasant to have him around and not judge me for my gender during the war, but it's more surprising he was on our side too. Jin shook her head. He once said that he believed peace was possible, but it would be a long time till his dream was fulfilled. Part of me is relieved to see him alive again. So you like Naruto-kun? That's sweet. Orihime had Jin blushing, but it wasn't too surprising considering how she physically was 19 years old. The giddy girl might have said more if not for Tatsuki pulling on her cheeks. Don't you go asking stuff like that, especially someone out of time, as odd as this all is. I swear this whole situation gets weirder now that I've joined. Tatsuki sighed as the sun patted her shoulder, which only served to make her eye twitch. You have only recently discovered your abilities, Tatsuki-san? Jin asked, getting a nod from both her and her stand. Yeah, it's still a bit much for me hearing all my friends had these powers and didn't tell me. It was slightly amusing as in response to her words the sun started giving Orihime a slight nagi as if to tease her for not explaining her powers earlier. Perhaps, but more than likely they simply wanted to protect you. Knowing others have the power to defend themselves and you not having your own would be difficult for anyone, especially close friends. At least you have the strength now to fight alongside them now, right? Jin asked, unknowingly using her charisma ranka to get a nod of agreement from the tomboy. I guess that makes sense. Just annoying how far ahead little Orihime was in terms of experience via the stuff Naruto-sensei did plus those weird guys at the old warehouse. Seeing her prone to ditzy moments, best friend dodging Lisa so easily, whose speed was on par with Apache, was something hard to believe. Even if she didn't know that if she got caught Orihime would be forced into cosplay. I just wanted to make sure you didn't have to worry about me, plus it's the stuff you taught me that kept me tough, Tatsuki-chan. Orihime pumped her fist to her, making Tatsuki smile as she ruffled her hair. She could always trust Orihime to make her smile. Outside on the roof, Naruto was drinking sake on his own. Rengoku and Yoruichi had offered to join him, but he wanted time to himself. He felt something else once they entered the city, or more when Jin was summoned. He felt the other servants, and his connection to nature had connected him to a degree to the ley lines of Fayuki. To think you are here. It's been so long since those days of the early world. After I had to change things for the better. Naruto felt Kurama call him and summon the fox. Hey Kurama, what's up? Really, you're asking that? We still share that link of ours. You're remembering the days after the war. Father wouldn't blame you for what happened. Too much had changed as the years rolled by. Naruto offered a cup to his Vulpine partner and friend to settle his nerves. I can feel that guy. He's here as well. You're going to have to fight him, right? Kurama remembered the blonde brat who became king. Yes, but I'll have my partners, my girls, and the others, plus Jin now too. I should be fine, but I may need to use that side of me, the presence he has, much darker. It's not going to be an easy ride, but things like this never are. Clanged. KRRSSSH. Crash. The back garden of Naruto was quite busy the following morning with him challenging Jin to a spar to see if her skills were up to snuff with her current stats. She was holding her own with Naruto using a rapier, with Jin holding her own given to her by Naruto. He'd set up barriers to cancel out noise that would disturb the neighbors, which made them not notice anything when looking at them. Reception filters were fun like that. Sunday to Sunday and Orihime were handling breakfast as the auburn-haired girl could cook. It was just her sense of taste had her add additions to spice up the dish. Sunday to Sunday was there to stop it this morning so those who couldn't handle could still eat. The others were either watching the match or out shopping, as Fayuki did have good stores along with great new styles. Rengoku had gotten Naruto's card by asking of course, but dragged Nemu, Mila Rose and Yoruichi with her for getting some new outfits, plus cosplay for Orihime's training. But back to the spar. Both blondes were wearing simple white fencing outfits, and each was simply trying to draw blood to gain a point, a game Naruto had started to make it a little fun. So far it was even as Naruto managed his strength, and if it was a katana it would be a different matter. Rapiers were made for stabbing rather than the slicing edge of a katana. It wouldn't be too long before they had to leave for their temporary position at Hamura Haragakuen to put them in a better position. Nema was on monitor duty by her request, as she had noted Berserker's master as a small, white-haired girl that Naruto knew was a homunculus, while there had been no images of Lancer's master nor any sight of the spearman. He'd since felt the summoning of Rider, the same for Caster and Assassin. Only Archer and Saber remained to be called upon, with one day remaining before the start of the war. In the time before, they had created a good base of information. Figuring out who was connecting to the realms of magic was simple when you knew what you were looking for. Of course, there had been unexpected incidents, such as the second night in the house where their neighbors invited him over for dinner. Flashback X. Bing, bong, the doorbell rang as Naruto was pouring some Earl Grey out for Jean and the others. Lemon was usually the addition, but Naruto knew they liked milk, Yoruichi being a lover of milky tea due to her feline nature. Who could that be? Naruto wondered aloud, walking outside with the cat woman jumping to his shoulder. Opening his door, he found one of the students from the school, Shiro Emiya, the nicknamed fake janitor of the school. "Oh, Emiya-san, how can I help you?" Naruto-san, you are my neighbor." Another voice chimed in, and Naruto felt a sweat drop, seeing quite possibly the most childish teacher he'd met in a while. Fujimura Teiga, the English teacher who was an excellent teacher. When she wasn't late or falling asleep in class or begging her ward for food, she'd taken a liking to him when he met her, as he was nice and spoke English as well. Teiga was also the daughter of the local Yakuza and was a first-class kendo fighter, only never won any tournaments as she left a charm on her bakken and got disqualified. Nema was good at her information digging. "Evidently, Teiga-san, I see you're with your student, but why are you both here?" Naruto asked as Orihime poked her head out to see who was there. "Oh, we just wanted to invite you over for dinner to welcome you into the area. It's even better now since we can get more friendly." "Who's this one here?" Teiga asked, offering Shiro's talent to others as if she taught him anything, the woman who could burn water. "This is Orihime. I guess one of my charges. She offered to go on this exchange, as you remember my position is temporary, right, Teiga-san?" Naruto said as he was ignored as Teiga hugged the sweet Orihime. Seeing the scene, he turned to Shiro. "I doubt she'll take no for an answer. Fujini isn't good at accepting the word no. Sorry about this, Naruto-sensei, you don't have to come over." Naruto shook his head at the sweet boy, even if he would see the true iron in those golden eyes. A broken man at such a young age was sad, but a degree interesting to the old warrior. "I don't mind. Making new friends while my short stay here is always a good idea. Hope you don't mind feeding all my house guests, though," Naruto said as the other heads popped out the door, making Shiro's eyes widen with all of the young women. "Curse of being a landlord. I may need some spare ingredients if you have some, but I'm used to cooking a fair bit for Fujini and my friend," Shiro said. Thankfully his sister didn't hear, as she was now batting heads with Tatsuki, who had knocked her away from Orihime. "I'll get some for you now. Any preferences?" Rangiku now came out and was hugging Teiga. "Just some meat, please. Beef as it's sukiyaki, and vegetables too," Shiro said as Naruto left to get the ingredients, and Shiro led the rather large group of girls back to his home. "Sakura, Fujini convinced Naruto-sensei to join us for dinner." From inside the kitchen, a purple-haired teen smiled at her senpai. "Okay, senpai, how many are there?" "Don't worry, there aren't too many of us," Rangiku said, taking a seat and pouring herself and Teiga a cup. Naruto quickly entered the house too with the meat and veggies. Naruto-kun, join us for a drink." "Not tonight, Rangiku-chan, I have work in the morning." "I better not see you giving Orihime any," Naruto said, joining Shiro and Sakura in the kitchen. "Hope you don't mind me joining in." "You're the cook, Naruto-sensei?" Shiro asked, having respect for the man now learning he could cook. Usually the adults in his personal life had no cooking talents, Akatega and his departed father. "Yep, I know a good amount of dishes too. With so many under my roof back in Karakura, I like to spice up the menu now and again." Naruto took a knife from the counter and went about slicing the beef up for the hot pot. "So which of you is the teacher for cooking?" Well, senpai has been teaching me to cook for a while. I'm not as good as him yet though," Sakura said, avoiding Naruto's eyes, probably out of embarrassment, but part of her didn't want to meet his pure eyes like her own senpai. "Don't put down your skills, Sakura. You manage some dishes better than I ever could. It won't be long till you surpass me," Shiro said, making the girl duck her head and blush. What a cute pair you make. Now let's get on before those two drinkers cause any more trouble," Naruto said, teaming up for the battle of the stomachs coming up. "Oh, and Shiro, you wouldn't be related to Kiritsugu Emiya, would you?" "Yes, he was my adoptive father. He passed away some years ago." "Why did you know him personally?" Shiro asked, surprised again by his teacher. "No, just heard of his name though in passing, and hearing your last name made me curious, that's all," Naruto said, handing Shiro the sliced up meat before taking some eggs and cracking them. "So the infamous Magus killer adopted a kid. Wonder why that man would ever do something like that." By the end of the night, Rangiku had managed to outdrink Teiga, and the two formed a partnership of drinking, while Orihime seemed to get on well with Sakura despite how shy she came off. But she was probably the best person to help Sakura heal from whatever it was that made her look so broken as a young girl. It was easy to see the two teens' true selves through the eyes of experience. Their history would come later, but on first impressions both of them supported each other a lot, but like many men with beautiful girls around them, Shiro likely didn't realize Sakura's blatant feelings for him. It was a blast from the past remembering Hinata back in different times, but seeing them made Naruto know that he'd need to help them even more so with the war upon them. X break X, swish, I believe that's match point Naruto, I win this battle, Jin said, smiling, taking advantage of his moment of daydreaming. He could still defend, but not as well as it was hardly life or death situation for his body to react on instinct. Oh well done, Jin. Lost on my dream road there. Anyway, think we should get changed for breakfast and work, Naruto said as the cut healed over, leaving no scars. Yes, I believe that will be best. I hardly want to make a terrible impression with body odor for the students. Jin was accepting of her position as a nurse for Naruto since he was letting her do her duty as a servant, but in a way that made her feel like nothing had changed in their relationship. Plus, his cooking was amazing, and now she got to try several different cultures' dishes. It was a quick shower and change for the two before they were sitting down for breakfast. So everyone, what are you going to be doing while me and Jin are at school? Naruto asked as he took his rice from Harem. Well, I think there's a few stores we haven't looked at yet, but I think we'll be buying a couple more outfits for Jin-chan, Rangiku said, loving the chance to dress up such a cute girl. Not like she didn't do it for Harem anyways, but Jin was just as adorable with how she reacted with some clothes. Ah, there really is no need, Rangiku-san. Jin had adjusted the change in language, learning the meaning of suffixes. The clothes you bought me already will suit me fine. Oh, don't be like that, Jin. Just let us in with Naruto's card. Your master treat you to make up for lost time. You wouldn't want to stick with the same old clothes, right? You're a witch, he said, looming over the girl with an aura telling her no wasn't an option. Well, I guess it couldn't hurt, Jin said, blushing while Naruto chuckled at the scene. I guess the rest of us will just be working on our schoolwork. I can't believe we still have to do this. I'd rather spar with Tatsuki, Apache said, sighing since school was dull for her. She wanted to run about and get her blood pumping. I know the feeling, but for me and Harem it's so we can get jobs. Heck with you guys, if you stay, might get ones too, so may as well get it done. After that we can spar. I mean, you could try fighting Nemu as you wanted, as I'm curious how Sunday to Sunday or Miller Rose fights today, Tatsuki explained, getting a thoughtful look from Apache. I'll spar with you, Arasawa, just help me out on my English, alright? Miller Rose asked, getting a nod as Naruto finished his food and thanked for it into Harem. Well, at least you'll get it done. Come on, Jin, best to get there before the unofficial janitor does. Shiro's nickname was quickly learned by Naruto and Jin, and it was hilarious, but suited him as he'd seen his work, even if it was magic. Leaving the house with their lunches, Naruto and Jin were quickly in the school and headed to their office, Aka the doctor's room. Although on the way they saw another person. Otosaka saying good morning. Naruto greeted the girl who had the makings of a tsundere girl, or the school princess considering her grades and personality. The black-haired girl who styled it in twin tails offered a very fake, but convincing smile to an untrained eye. Oh, good morning, Uzumaki-sensei. Jin-sensei. Naruto pouted at the girl since she didn't use his first name, but was fine doing it for Jin. He was friendly enough. Morning, you alright this day, Ren, or is your mind going few miles a minute again? It wasn't hard to spot that the girl had tons on her mind, no doubt from being a possible participant. No, wait, she was concealing her hand. She was a participant. I guess it was going to be easy to find all the masters at this rate if most of them attended the school. Haha, nothing of the sort, Uzumaki-sensei, just early in the morning, so still need to wake up a little is all, she said, waving him off as she continued on her way to wherever she was going with the presents following her. She can't detect me, can she? Jin asked as Naruto smirked since he'd placed a seal on Jin to block out her presence as a servant, a slightly difficult task as he'd had to apply it to her skin so her back had been exposed to him, much to her own embarrassment. She could see the result though. Nope, unless you or I turn it off you feel like a normal human to everyone. With her now though, only Saber remains to be summoned, who can only guess who will be summoned next and if it's another student, Naruto said, taking the file of Sakura Madu, wanting to consult any possible history for whatever condition she had that made her look so frail. Outside of the possible emotional bullying by her brother he'd seen, and Jin had stopped. That's good, it doesn't feel like her servant is following her. Are you planning to tease or prank her though? I know that look. Jin knew Naruto was a prankster, but he'd kept it to a minimum back then, usually just guys trying to talk bad about her for being a woman. Maybe a little. She's too high-strung. The Tosaka own the land and she is a driven girl, but being a Magus heir knows what that means when morals come in between research. Best to get some fun in her through teasing and letting her know it's me so she can try and get back at me, Naruto said, noticing some similarities between her and Sakura, facial structure and coupled of other things. Likely the two were related. Well, I suppose that's a good idea. Are we going to reveal ourselves soon? Naruto shook his head at the question. Will appear once Saber has arrived and seeing the so-called priest, because I can make him think I'm not a competent master, but instead randomly chosen by mistake. Either way, those who go after either of us get a nasty surprise, Naruto explained to Jin, since being a ninja did leave the mind full of misdirection tactics. Very well, but aren't you a little worried about the others back at your home still with this war on the horizon? Naruto shook his head again, looking at the possible potential masters based on the general feel he got off them. Shiro was a definite possibility. I'm not gonna let them get harmed, but they aren't helpless either. Nemu's keeping me informed while Rangaku does help train the others along with Yoruichi. Plus I train Tatsuki a bit when she doesn't spar, and Orihime has asked for some pointers for healing. My little family isn't in too much trouble. We're all quite tough, aren't we, Jean? Naruto smiled, getting a flushed expression from the servant at how he described her as part of his family. The image with her and Naruto holding a child together was icing on the cake, which had caused her head to burst with steam. X. When nighttime came, Naruto found himself staying behind with Jean at the school in his office to see the first two servants fight it out under a small illusion, though, so the girl still on the roof didn't discover them. Lancer and Archer were duking it out on the field. What was odd, however, was Archer using a pair of short blades to combat the spearman. His form, it's made to have an opening, it's a suicidal stance. Jean commented, joining Naruto in her usual clothes still, but her blade was at her side to be drawn just as Naruto's as well. Both Yum and Saokayoku were attached to his left side, both ready to defend their wielder and friend. Yes, a style that relies on him taking advantage of their attempts to exploit his weaknesses. He sets the pace of the battle like that, though a rather interesting way of fighting for someone supposed to be a long-range attacker. Not that I'm much different, Naruto said, observing the other figure appearing at the far side of the field. Poor timing on his part. Naruto spotted Shiro easily, even more so from getting used to seeing bright-colored hair at night. Shouldn't we intervene? He might get hurt. Jean asked, her chivalry acting up, and Naruto nodded, dusting off his coat. Yeah, I'll distract Robin Hood. You deal with Blue Boy. Don't be reckless, Jean. I feel I should be saying that to you. Jean teased a little, leaving, but Naruto knew she wouldn't get there in time. Lancers were the fastest servant, and chances are the other master might slow her down, thinking she was normal. Plus, since it was Tosaka, she'd most likely be held up as she questioned Jean. His prediction was right, as he found Shiro as a deep stab wound to the heart. Orihime-chan could deal with this easily, but I guess I'll have to help you, Shiro. It surprised himself how easy he was dealing with the dying boy. Then again, the boy's eyes told me he'd died once before in a way. Whatever happened to make him like that has stuck to him like a cancer. My only hopes is that I can help him break out of it. Naruto thought to himself, reaching and grabbing the heart, and started to regenerate his cells using a hint of Biju chakra that was purified. In seconds the damage began to heal as the pure chakra held some magic and stopped the bleeding from whatever hit him, but left him there so he could wake up on his own. Naruto, sorry I didn't get here in time. Tosaka spotted me and I had to use one of the tools you left me to distract her. How is Shiro? Jean asked, concerned, seeing the pool of blood. He'll live now. Come on, Tosaka and her archer are coming. I'm surprised the distraction didn't last too long. Guess he wasn't much of a pervert. That's a first. Sadly, sexy jutsu didn't work on everyone. Pity it was proven to work on even the strongest of men and women. Grabbing Naruto's hand, they flashed away just in time for Rin to appear and see Shiro in a pool of his own blood, but what looked to be no injuries. What the heck happened? He should have a hole in his chest if there's this much blood, but not a mark on him. Archer, any ideas? Archer looked at the teen and was very confused for two reasons. Firstly was the girl in a strange catgirl cosplay waving him over outside, but now he saw someone who should be dying but looked perfectly healthy. None. Never mind then. Follow Lancer. Hopefully he can lead us to his master then. The red-clad servant nodded as he rushed to chance his opponent, trying not to consider what changes would occur now. The result would be the same in the end. It took a few minutes for Shiro to wake up with a gasp of air. What just happened? The last thing I remember was the spear going into his chest and the blood pouring out. Looking down, the redhead saw all the blood on the floor around him. But how am I alive? I need to get home. The team made a brisk pace home, but there wouldn't be a welcome guest when he arrived. The blue spearman was once more there and tried to make the same wound, but something strange happened when he retreated to his workshop. A seal lit up on the floor, and in the moonlight a flash of steel was swung to block the spear, and a strong voice echoed in the shed. I ask thee, are you my master? X. Naruto and Yoruichi alongside Jean and Rangaku watched using the hidden camera he'd set while he was there. To think it would be the little king who would his servant seems rather fitting. So that's King Arthur. You really can't tell with that armor it's a woman. Then again, this is your hidden camera. Remind me to thank Nemu. She fixed the feed to your tablet so easily. Yoruichi said, surprised, recalled when Naruto said he'd knew the King of England. Such technology is still amazing to me, but I must express my surprise that such a figure is a woman as well. But why do legends not state her true gender? To Jean, who never hid that she was a woman, it was surprising to see her fellow knight lie in such a way in legend. Firstly, it's because Merlin can be cruel in methods in raising a leader, and second, because she never lived as a woman. She was a strong girl, but the way she became, she wasn't a true king in some ways. She lead them alone, not unlike others I've seen. Naruto said, shaking his head, seeing that cold face his time in the medieval ages sprung to mind and why he left Britain after the death of Arthur. He had failed in a way to make the girl see she couldn't live as a man. The moments with those closest to her were only short, and then it all fell apart. Don't frown, Naruto-kun, it's not suited to your cute face, Rangaku said, draping herself over his shoulder. You and her can make up later, just don't let memories take over, all right? Naruto smiled at the at times giddy blonde. Her bond of friendship ran deep and she could tell he was bothered by Arthuria's presence. You're right, but I guess that'll come later. You're witchy wanna join me for the next bit. I worry that Shiro might do something stupid and you are fast enough to not get caught helping too much. The woman nodded as she slipped into cat form and hopped to his shoulder. A powerful man with an adorable cat at his side working with a silly boy. Can you think of anything sillier? Your witch's male-voiced asked as Naruto tilted his head. Probably if I was a vampire or something. He shrugged as he continued to watch the event unfold as Rin made her appearance with her servant and strategically owned Shiro, while calling him an idiot of a magus. When she said she'd help introduce him to the supervisor of the war, he agreed, and Naruto, with his two companions left to follow while giving Rangaku a kiss on the cheek, he then doing the same to Yorwichi so she didn't feel left out. Following without being noticed was easy. Seals could do practically anything if you knew how to tweak them, plus Kisuke had mentioned his cloaks made so no one could sense you. A perfect little project he'd made with assistance with Nemu. Clever girl she was, but as a result Naruto and Jin were in their cloaks while Yorwichi hid in his hood. So the priest here, he's annoying, but for a no-good magus like you, it's best you get advice on what's gonna happen now. Rin could be heard as they entered the church, although Naruto's empathy sent him on edge and he went to his knees at what he was feeling. So much pain and sadness in a place of God was confusing. Naruto-kun, are you alright? Yorwichi asked, seeing his expression, but he got back and took a deep breath to calm down. Yeah, just got hit by an unexpected feeling. Come on Jin, we'll need to hear what we can. Naruto said while fleeing the mini-cameras Nemu had provided him to help survey the inside of the building. Oi, Kairi I Bright the 7th Master, get out here you crappy priest. Rin said with a scowl, a clear indicator that whoever she was calling was an unpleasant man. Though, I do miss the days I could believe you could be a well-mannered girl, especially after our time together. Alas, it is not the will of God it seems. Welcome boy and Katamine Kairi. But Rin, you didn't tell me you were bringing other guests too. The surprised look on the girl had her turning her head to the now unhooded figures of Naruto and Jin. Actually, we just followed. You see, I saw that weird mark on Rin-san's hand and tonight I got my own. I overheard her grumbling on the way and explaining to Shiro what it was. Can you explain, Katamine-san? Naruto asked politely but was on edge at the man's aura. It was unnatural, like a snake waiting to bite the hand that feeds it. Oh, another master now, that is strange. Should make for an entertaining war all the same. May I know the names of our new participants? Katamine asked as the blondes walked forward. Uzumaki Naruto, the girl here calls herself ruler. Naruto said, getting a shocked look from Rin from the unusual servant class. Bet this is a bit of a surprise, huh Rin? What the hell's going on? Shiro can at least do something, but you're just a teacher. How did you get picked as a master? She said, fuming, and Naruto noticed Kairi's grin grow. Perfect, a sadistic man who looks like he want to play a game with our lives. Best not to confront him too early, I can feel that boy in here. Naruto was very well aware of the person watching from the rafters of the church. I'm afraid, I'm not sure what is even going on, Rin-san. I may need an explanation. Naruto said, feigning ignorance, at least in front of the priest. There could be a way to explain things later to the teens. I believe I can do that. It is my job as the supervisor for this war. First, let me say rejoice, for you two have a chance to have your wish granted by the holiest of artifacts. While both of you may have become masters due to fate, there is no turning back. Fight and climb to the top to claim the prize of the Holy Grail. Ah, but where are my manners? Who might you be, Master of Saber? Katamine said, trying to make a grand show of all that was happening. Emiya Shiro. Katamine's eyes widened upon hearing that name and just smiled again. Emiya Shiro. Uzumaki Naruto, I wish you luck in this war and pray to God you survive to see the next day. You should both stay alive till the end. With that, the group left the church, but Rin was immediately in Naruto's face, grabbing his cloak's collar and pulling his face to her. Tell me what you know. There is no ruler class. Why were you following us to see the priest? Rin demanded of her teacher, but found her hands scratched by the cat on his shoulders, whose golden eyes glared at her. It is as he said, Rin-san, I am a servant of the Grail summoned under the unused ruler class. I do not know why I was summoned to this war, which is happening far too early, but I and my new master shall endeavor to keep things in order. As ruler, I have the responsibility to see that the war goes without unneeded bloodshed. My master is not a magus of any kind, just a kind man, so do not attempt to assault him. Jin gave Rin a glare, making her back off, but Jin turned her attention to Saber, who seemed to be giving her an odd look. Is there a problem, Saber-san? No, you just look familiar. No surprise there, as Jin with different hair might look a little like Arthuria, but only a madman would confuse the two in first sight. Well, never mind that. I mean, I'm just a doctor, so I'll help you kids out if you need some help. Plus, as a doctor, I'll walk you back home. Don't want anything bad to happen, right? Naruto said as the group made their way under many watchful eyes. Back in the church, a blonde Adness sipped his wine and thought, seeing the blonde man in the church. That face was familiar, but that treasure of a woman would be something to consider adding to my collection, a present for my upcoming wedding. What do you think, Kairi, of our newest actors? The King of Heroes asked the man. An interesting pair. The son of that man should be an interesting act to watch unfold, but the unknown should be watched. Ruler is someone who can call all servants together as she sees fit. We don't want you to reveal yourself before the climax, do we? Kairi knew how to deal with Gilgamesh, to stoke his ego, but knowing not to go too far without joking so as to not invoke the wrath of Babylon. Very true, but with a talentless mage and a doctor I wouldn't worry. I will show up this show once the time for my arrival comes. It will be a show none will forget as the true king steps forward. X break X. How did we end up walking through the graveyards? Naruto asked aloud as Rin was leading them, now deeming herself to be the best to do so, being the most experienced one to magic. It's a shortcut, so stop asking questions, Rin said, very irritated, and her servant's chuckling was not helping in the slightest. Just a comment, it's all. You really are nothing like the image you create, Rin-san. So scary, right, Shiro? Naruto asked the lad, who gave a nervous chuckle recalling his friend Issei mentioning something similar. I'm not sure I should answer, but I think Tosaka is a fairly nice person anyway. She did just help us understand a bit about the war even though she didn't need to. Shiro's honest compliment had the effect of adding some red to the girl's cheeks and letting the storm that was her rage quell a bit. Well, we all have our other sides, I suppose. But I have to ask, what's someone so young doing on her own tonight, Aju-chan? Naruto turned to someone who was waiting for them to see a young girl who looked perhaps 13 or 14 wearing a purple coat with cold weather hat. She had snow-white hair and red eyes. Oh, you noticed me? You seem like far more than your average doctor, you know, the girl said, giggling, having had various familiars try to follow him but couldn't get into his house, but he seemed like a strange man who hung around the redhead teen. She had her reasons. What? Why the heck is a kid out here so late? Rin asked as the girl let out a small giggle, turning to Shiro. It's good to see you have your servant now. If you didn't, this would be so boring for me. Nice to meet you, although my name is Eliasvale von Einsenberg. Play with me, the girl ordered, making Rin pale hearing the name, and Naruto plus the servants feel tense at the oppressive feeling in the area now. Shiro, that girl says she from the Einsenberg. They have been after the Grail every war. She's likely a master, Rin warned, mentally commanding her servant to be ready. She has a servant too, Shiro said, surprised, as the little girl didn't look like she could hurt a kitten. That's right, Oni-chan. With both of us having our servants, we can both go for the Grail, but it lets me get to do something fun. I get the chance to kill you, Oni-chan. The smile left for a moment as she made her command. Come, Berserker. In the instant, what can only be described as a mountain of muscle appeared in front of the girl. The beast servant looked to be a giant wearing very little, just a tunic to cover his lower regions, and was also carrying a huge slab of stone that had the semblance of an axe. But Naruto recognized the man on first sight from his time during the Age of Gods, a time better forgotten in his opinion. Hercules, this may be trouble. I may need to release Yume or Saokyoku for him. Ah well, plans rarely work in war, I suppose. Naruto drew out his sword, surprising Shiro and Rin, seeing the blade seemingly appear from nowhere. Naruto, what do we do? Jean asked, drawing out her own sword ready to summon her armor. Defend ourselves, while preventing Shiro from doing something stupid, or keep an eye on Saber and help her if you think she needs it, Naruto said as he sealed away the cloaks and Jean donned her armor while Naruto slung off his doctor's coat. Crush them, Berserker, the madman roared and charged the group, readying his axe to bisect them or literally crush their bones to dust. Saber was quick to act to aid her master and met the blow, but Jean was not far behind and pushed back with her own sword. Ruler, stand back, I need no aid, Saber cried out, dodging a swing, but Jean was quick to deflect the next blow with her. Don't be foolish, he is stronger than you. As a fellow knight, you should know the power of working together. Saber resisted the urge to flinch hearing the words as they reminded her of a red-haired man, but brushed it to the side in an instant. This is my fight, do not interrupt. Slashing her sword, Jean defended herself from the weak slash, but narrowed her eyes at the woman. Defend your master while I do the same for mine. Jean ignored her and tried to push Berserker's path of destruction away from the pair of Shiro and Rin. With both of them attacking, the man was forced to defend with both arms as opposed to using his weapon, thus weakening his offensive only a little. Naruto meanwhile had moved a safe distance away and drew out his Zanpakuto. Sing for me, Saokyoku. The chime of the firebird could be heard as the blade became fire that covered his arm up to his shoulder. When the fire quelled, it revealed a gauntlet that was deep crimson with some gold and orange trims. This was the true Shikai for Saokyoku. The gauntlet would allow his access to any of the million weapons that made up her strength, so created the best tool for right now, a large claymore that was born from fire. Good, you think you can get me my old armor from your memory? He asked his other blade. In a flash he was clad head to toe in armor, mostly in shades of dark orange, gold, and red. Dull silver lines decorate the armor as well. Notable additions to his armor include upturned, sharp red hooks on the backs of his boots, a navy blue cape, and a dark visored helmet. His helmet sports two tall, red prongs on either side, but his right arm was unchanged from Saokyoku's Shikai. Time to cross blows with the great hero for the first time. Naruto was fast as he made his way to the fight, just in time to see Berserker swinging for Saber while Jean was being flung away. With his right arm he swung his own blade, the loud clang practically making a shockwave from the test of strength both gave. Only Naruto was pushed back from the blow, his feet digging into the ground, but Berserker had his attention on him, so jumped up to swing for his head. The warrior was quick to try and backhand him. Naruto just lifted his leg to kick the hand away before spinning to knock back the axe. What the heck is going on? Who is this new guy? Another unknown servant, Rin cried out before feeling a tug at her mind as her servant contacted her. What do you mean, get away? That movement. It's Naruto-sensei's. I remember when Taiga tried to hit him, his swinging action to defend is the same. How is he so strong and what is that blade? Shiro wondered too, shocked as well. He'd had a busy night, but the way Naruto looked as he fought, it was obvious he was far more skilled than he originally thought and would try to learn more soon. But before he could give it more thought, his sixth sense went off and he turned to a seemingly odd direction. Emiya-kun, we have to get out of here, Rin shouted, grabbing his arm, and Shiro gave her a look before turning to Saber, who was attacking now. Wait, I have to get Saber. Don't be an idiot, she's a servant, she can handle herself. Shiro got himself out of her arm and tried to run toward the knight, but Jean was there to grab the both and jump away with them just in time for a strange object to hit Berserker, but Saber was nowhere near the blow as she had been flung away just before by Berserker, a bit distracted by the new armored warrior. The resulting explosion lit up the night sky and fire was spread around the graveyard, with Jean and the two teen hitting the floor as she was mid-jump when the shockwave hit. Idiot servant, could have given me a better warning, Rin thought to herself, wondering why Archer had fired so fast. Emiya and herself barely got out of the blast range. That attack, he was hoping to catch us in the after blast. Jean then heard the clang and saw what it was that was fired, a black blade on the floor, a noble phantasm used as a projectile weapon. But its power is much too weak. Just as she thought that, the blade shattered like glass, revealing it to be fake. That was unpleasant, Naruto muttered in a barrier of fire originating from Saokyoku, but aside from some scuff marks on his armor he was undamaged. But the blade he was wielding was destroyed. I guess I should expect that. Noble phantasms are much different than Zanpakuto, at least for Shikai. Thank you for protecting me, you two, Naruto said to his weapons, and he could feel their appreciation, but got up the barrier, fading to see Berserker with his master now on his shoulder. You are an interesting man, to think a relic can still fight against Berserker and still be in one piece. Sadly though, we must leave. It was nice playing with you, Onii-chan, Oji-chan. Bye-bye. Ilia made her leave, but Naruto was surprised she could tell his true age from just a look. Must have analyzed me in the fight. Makes sense, I guess, but I only hope the priest can't do the same, Naruto thought as he turned to Jean and Saber, who was on her feet now. Before he could say anything, Rin cried out, Emiya-kun, Emiya-kun. Walking over, Yoon dispelled his armor as he rested his hand against the boy's chest. He's exhausted, no doubt from the strain of tonight. Your witchy, we're taking them to my place for the night. The black cat nodded, finding that it wasn't the best time to tease right now. Naruto-sensei, what is going on? Just who are you and what do you really know? Rin gave her best glare, but Naruto just smiled, ruffling her hair like a parent does to a child. Just follow me, I'll try and explain a little, but I imagine you might have trouble believing it, Naruto said as they started to walk back home. Of course you're free to walk home if you don't want to learn. Rin stroked down her hair that had been messed up. Just give me an hour. I've decided a truce between masters is the best option now, considering Berserker's master. Do not discuss anything until I arrive at your house, understand? Naruto couldn't help but chuckle. Make her shorter and with a sharp, snaggle-tooth and Uediyori, minus the blonde hair of course, but there were plenty blonde around right now. I'll do my best. Come along then, Saber. Do not presume to order me, Saber said, glaring at the blonde, who just smirked and openly laughed, making her eyes twitch so minimal it was only his experience with the girl he knew she was doing it. When Rin arrived home, she brought out a bag and started packing it. Are you actually serious about forming a truce with that kid and the doctor? Archer said, appearing behind his master, looking unsure of her decision. Both of them are unknowns, especially Naruto-sensei. To fight so skillfully is unnatural. To fight against Berserker, who already is unbelievably strong, and survive is worthy of an alliance. Isn't it wise to ally yourself with the strongest servant and the newest master with an unknown servant class? Rin said, using the straps to secure her luggage. The doctor, yes, but that boy will only be a burden to us. It would be simpler to only ally with him and this ruler, Archer said, looking out the window to see if he could catch anything in the distance. Are you saying you won't follow your master's plan, Archer? Rin asked to her servant seriously, as he did have independent action and was already an unruly servant. I have to follow it, as long as you are my master though, Archer said, taking steps to leave the room. Wait, I don't think you've told me what heroic spirit you are, or what you can tell me about Naruto-sensei, Rin asked as her servant could offer insight into who or what the blonde really was. The doctor I have no idea about, but I'd be careful around him all the same. As you said, to fight Berserker is noteworthy, but he still seemed human. As to my name, I can't recall, no doubt from your imperfect summoning. With that, Archer astralized from the room to avoid the rage he created in his master from pointing out the blunt truth. Taking to the roof, his mind was a whirl as he remembered the blade the blonde had wielded, but the armor as well, as it seemed impossibly that it was a sword as well. Never in all the wars he fought in had such a man appeared, let alone an extra master for the war. Only time will tell if I need to kill him like the boy as well. I'll need to go full power against him, as his technique shows a level of mastery not unlike a saber, Archer thought to himself, wondering what would happen now. Well, this feels a little awkward. I'm gonna make us some snacks, Naruto said as Shiro, Saber, Archer and Rin stared at him in the front room of his temporary house. You can't be serious, Rin's voice muttered while Archer just smirked at her. Mind if I help you, Uzumaki-san? The white-haired man stood up as Naruto gave no sign to deny him helping, and quickly was amazed at the state of the kitchen. All the tools there were first grade. Impressive, isn't it? I honestly need it with all of the different girls I have to feed, not that I don't love it, Naruto said as he pulled out some cold meat from his fridge and set his grill on with a bit of oil. So your master seems so be accepting of this truce, but how about you, Archer-san? Naruto said, turning the mat so it would get even cooking. Yes, she is, he said as he took up a knife and began dicing some of the vegetables for a salad. But you knew she would, you expected it of her. Catch that, huh? Well, can't say I didn't expect your eyes to miss it. I don't intend any harm to come to her or any other connected in the war that aren't monsters like the priest, Naruto said, getting a wide-eyed surprised look from Archer. How can you tell? I'm a good judge of character most of the time, and I know when something is foul no matter how they dress it. That priest sets me off, and I have seen smiles like those on a few people, and they were not nice people like you or Shiru. He found the knife Archer, or rather Shiru, was holding under his neck. They can't hear us. There's a seal on the door frame to cancel out sounds. No, put that down before you make a mess of my kitchen. How? Archer, Shiru, or rather Emiya as some may simple view him, asked. You have his eyes but more worn from age, plus you have his facial structure and his hair, if you let it drop and hang over your forehead, plus you cook the same way. Naruto listed off as the white-haired hero wondered how no one else ever made that connection when they put him next to his younger self. Now don't worry, I'm not going to spill any secrets. Ruler isn't going to reveal mine. Well, expect those we agreed to tell you already, Naruto said as he dabbed his paper towel into his pan to soak up some of the fat. You are a strange man, you know that, right? Naruto just smirked as he worked in tandem with the man in red. That's half the fun, dear boy. Back in the main room where less big reveals were being made. For now at least, Jean was chatting with Rin, who tried to squeeze out info from her. So how long you been with that doctor? Do you get along well? Rin asked, wondering if the blonde had all 3 command seals still, since he was sneaky enough to not reveal his hand, literally. My, you are a curious little girl, aren't you? But she hasn't had any problems. Naruto-kun is a very kind man, cooks, cleans, and gives excellent massages. What about you though? Got any good men in your life? Rangiku said, wearing a lovely cleavage top, and made it a point to lift her girls. Rin herself resisted all temptation to shout a spell at the other woman. Any reminder of her rival Luvia did not help her mood, especially since most of the women in the room so far kept blocking her questions and give her simple answers. No details that would help her get an advantage on the blonde. I'm too focused on the war at hand to think about such trivial things like relationships. I already have to deal with this idiot in my life. Having anything else would only be a distraction, Rin said as Naruto and Archer came back in with their snacks, with Archer offering a grin that did not help. Yes, my master is determined to proceed with what she sees as the best course of action, no matter how stubborn it makes her look, Archer said, sitting down next to Rin, ignoring the subtle signs of her frustration. I know a boy like that at my usual school I work at. He scowls way too much though, needs a girlfriend soon too, Naruto said as Orihime pouted at him. Kurosaki-kun isn't that bad, Naruto-sensei, he just prefer people not to bother him. Orihime then was patted on the head by the blonde, who felt bliss as he ran his fingers through her hair. True, but he still scowls too much. So you 4, I am Uzumaki Naruto, doctor and odd man extraordinaire and fellow master in this war, and I've asked you here to strike a truce between us for the remainder of this war. I've been brought in but have no desire or wish for the Grail to grant. Jean I don't know about, but I doubt she had much to wish for, am I right? The blonde summoned Spurt shook her head to the question. No, while I too have been called to arms, all I could wish for has come to pass, so I will be here to protect my master, Naruto, but I shall be protecting the innocent too, as I refuse to let children and alike be brought into this war and sacrificed, Jean said, getting nods from Archer and Saber as they too wish to protect people other than their masters, to their own degrees of course. And while this truce seems promising, what is it that you plan to offer if, say, I wish to take the Grail when the time comes? Rin asked, in full negotiation mode now, eyes form and straight-backed. Well, aside from the obvious of having one master, you don't have to worry about backstabbing you. There is the assistance of the unknown class of ruler. I of course will be at hand to explain and offer excuses for any absences of school and see to any injuries. Plus there is the option of sharing my home where young Shiru's here due to our close proximity. He knew she'd never stay in the same house as him. It would be illogical for a Magus to stay in the house of someone strong enough to fight off a servant. Interesting. Will you be providing any information you discover about the other masters should you find anything? Naruto nodded as he nibbled on his pudding that he'd prepared earlier, bit of whiskey too for a bit of an edge mixed into it. Yes, even now I'm doing my best to discover all I can about potential masters, but also setting up a sensory array to narrow down areas of high prana where is more likely to be. But let's get down to brass taxes. Do you want my help, little girl? Naruto said, grinning like he had a winning hand and card, which in a way he did. Rin did well not to rise to the minor insult to her person, looking to Archer, who just gave a subtle nod. Very well then, as the second owner of Fayuki City, Itosaka, Rin, accept your terms for a truce, but I will decline your offer to stay here, as I'm sure Emiya-kun can provide me better. As you wish. Naruto smirked, seeing the slight puzzled look on Shiru's face, seeing how the girl next to him had basically now inserted herself into his house. Luckily for Naruto, he wouldn't have to deal with Teiga about it. Good, well then, so far there is a couple areas to consider. Ryugu Temple may be an area, but I'll be conducting reconnaissance on my own while we are at school tomorrow, so don't concern yourself about that for now. For now we are certain who has summoned Berserker, as we met her already, but Lancer, Rider, Caster, and Assassin have yet to be discovered. I'll bring the files on anything I find to Shiru's under pretense of forgotten work in case his guardian is about. Naruto finished his pudding, as did Jean, who enjoyed the simple custard treat. Good, I'll see you at school then, Uzumaki-sensei. I'll be moving in tomorrow, Emiya-kun. Please make sure there is a room free of clutter for me to put my things in. With that, Rin offered a small bow and left the room, leaving with Archer, and was quickly out the door. She seemed nice. Orihime broke the minor tension left with the girl's departure, although Shiro had managed to get his hands on one of the puddings and was trying to discern the flavors made in its creation. Saber was between eating it herself and starting at her fellow swordsman and the blonde in the room. Hey, too strict for my liking. It's like my dealing with Hitsuji Itacho, but slightly taller and a bit of a chest. Cue a sudden urge for Rin outside to blast the other woman next time she saw her. Nice to see you talk her down so easily though, Naruto-kun. It's what I do. Was tempted to really mess with her though. So Shiro, what do you think of this situation? Naruto questioned the boy, bringing him back into focus. I'm not really sure about all of this, but if you plan to make sure that no one involved gets hurt is fine by me. Thank you for offering to help me as well. Shiro bowed his head, getting smiles all around from the polite boy. Can we keep him and trade him with Ikugo? Sunday to Sunday asked, as Shiro was a lot more polite than Ikugo and he seemed to have a talent for cooking too. Sadly no. He's needed here because Taiga would probably starve, and two because Shiro still has to teach his cute little Kohai some recipes among other things. Naruto said, getting giggles from Rangaku and Yoruichi even if she was still in cat form. I'm not sure what's left to teach Sakura, she's nearly surpassed me. Shiro, being who he was, didn't see the true meaning of Naruto's words, but someone would help him realize soon enough. Next break X. On his way to the school the next day, Naruto found an upsetting image, Sakura holding her cheek while on the floor with her brother Shinji above her. I told you not to go over to Emiya's house, Sakura, don't disobey me again. I'm sorry, Nai-san. Sakura almost whispered, and Naruto felt his blood boil, remembering his sweet Hinata and her problems with Neji back before he removed the pole from his ass. Good, now I expect you at home after school and club. Grandfather says it's time for your lessons again. The grin on his face had Sakura shivering, but the grin was wiped from his face when he felt his wrists grabbed and he was turned around. Hello Shinji, nice to see you this morning, abusing a fellow student in full view of a member of faculty. Naruto said, sending chills down the boy's spine, but the bravado was quick to spring back. Oh, nothing like that happened, Naruto-sensei, just a misunderstanding. Please let go, otherwise I might report you. Shinji said, looking smug, and Naruto raised an eyebrow at him. I mean, Sakura just fell, isn't that right, Sakura? Sakura just nodded as Naruto turned to her. I see. It was sad to see how conditioned the girl seemed to be, and Naruto let out a sigh as he let go of the boy's wrist. Good, now let's get to class before we're erg. Shinji was cut off as Naruto grabbed his shoulder and gave him a solid knee to his groin, and Naruto grabbed his throat. Fun fact, the area we are in is a blind spot and you are a little early, so not many people are here. Lie to my face like that again and I'll make sure you won't have this anymore. He let Shinji go, falling to the floor, cupping his nuts. Report me if you dare, trust me nothing will happen. Sakura, follow me right now. He wondered if he was being too harsh, but considering what he felt on Shinji, maybe not. Jean, meet me in my office and make sure Yoruichi is there. Sakura had an incident with her brother. Naruto mentally contacted his partner as he wanted to make sure Sakura would be watched today. He needed to check her over for abuse and away from those who can hurt her. Of course Naruto, I'll bring Rangaku too. Will the others be alright though? Jean replied back to Naruto, worried about Orihime and the others. Yes, Nemu is still there, plus Apache, Mila Rose, and Sunday to Sunday can protect her. Naruto knew the girl was growing quickly on the Arankar. Naruto-sensei, you don't need to do this. It will only make my Nai-san mad, Sakura said as she followed close, holding her arms, showing how uncomfortable she was right now. I know, but there are some things I can't stand, Sakura-san, and I know Shiro is the same, so please bear with it for now, Naruto said as they got to office where his lovely ladies were waiting. These are my assistants, Jean and Rangaku. They both are here to listen to you while I just do a quick check on you. He took note of her flinch. If need be, Rangaku can check you over if that makes it easier. Sakura gave a very small nod, not liking being a center of attention right now. Naruto nodded and they went behind the curtain and set up an illusion to make sure Jean would be what Sakura saw when he did his checkup. Please relax, Sakura-san, Jean said, with Sakura seeing Naruto under the illusion seeing it. He went through the regular checks over her clothes as he wasn't going to make her strip, just checking for areas she would flinch from pain. Of course this was for appearances as he ran his scan. What he found made him want to kill whoever had done what he discovered. Sakura was infected from top to bottom with parasites, unnatural worms if he saw it correctly. Plus he found her command seals but made no comment. He was more struggling to keep his composure, seeing the worst of what people can do to innocents. You seem to have some minor bruising, Sakura-san, so I'll suggest you spend the day here to make sure there is no lasting damage, Jean said, getting her words from Naruto through their connection. Okay, Naruto, as he left with Jean to switch back from the illusion. He created a clones to find the home listed on Sakura file and find out what he could. Is it that bad, Naruto? Jean asked her master, feeling his strong feelings come through the bond. Worse, part of me doesn't want to know more, but for Sakura's sake I'm going to. I hope you and Rangaku can get her to talk a little. Use Shiro as a springboard if necessary, as I think he may be the key. I'm going to meet with him to let him know, and more than likely Rin too, Naruto said before feeling a hug from Yume and Saokaioku, who was sporting a more humanoid form now. Calm down, Naruto, you'll solve and help this girl, she'll get better, Yum said, feeling some tension fade from his shoulders as Jean watched with interest to the human version of Naruto's swords. No matter what, we are here to help you too, and any issues you looking into this may bring master. Plus you have Jean-san and the others too. Naruto smiled a little, hugging the two back. Thanks girls, now let's find that boy in the tsundere Magus, Naruto said, leaving his anger for now. It could be directed at others later who deserved it. Waiting outside the front, he waved over what seemed to be a fuming Rin and a confused Shiro, no doubt his natural nature having upset the girl in some way, shape or form. And Naruto-sensei, why are you waiting outside for us? Shiro asked the elder blonde who just lead them inside to change their shoes. Your friend Sakura has had an incident with her brother. After giving her a checkup, I found something, so she'll be staying in my office all day, just though you ought to know. Naruto explained, getting surprised looks from both teens for different reasons, not that he knew them right now. Oh, thank you for telling me. I'll stop by later to check on her, if I don't get asked to fix anything, and hopefully I won't, Shiro said, while Rin just offered a nod and thanks before walking to class, her thought clouded with concerns for a girl she once called family. Good, I'll see you at lunch, but be warned that I am Rangaku-chan, add odd essentials to our meals, Naruto said, having took note of his glass-eyed stare when Orihime put Anko on her meal. Heading back to his office, Jean just seemed to be talking with Sakura about what he didn't need to ask, just about her studies and her talent in cooking. Just a bit of news, Sakura. I've let young Shiro know you are here, so he'll be visiting no doubt at lunch, and if need be I'm sure I can convince him to feed you your lunch too. She smiled, but it looked forced if Naruto was honest, as he subtly looked at Sakura with his eyes as magenta was added to it. There's a connection to two other things. I'll have to rid of them later when I'm not being watched too closely. Naruto had felt eyes on the back of his head when he left the office, but made no sign he was aware of it. No doubt a servant was watching him, but was doing their best to hide. Good enough to stay out of sight, but not enough that he couldn't feel their anger from his empathy. It's only a matter of time until they strike, Jean muttered, having a feeling slightly similar to waiting for a battle to start. X break X. I still don't think it's fair we get left here while Naruto-sensei is working at another school. I mean, self-study is okay, but come on, it gets so boring, Tatsuki said as she and Apache trained in the back of the house wearing protective gear as Orihime had insisted. It's for our benefit, Arasawa-san. We know little of this so-called war, and while I'm sure it would be interesting to learn more, we can tell just how strong Jean-san is, and that level is dangerous. And a more like her would not be something we are quite ready for yet, myself included, of course. Don't you agree, Nemu-san? Sunday to Sunday inquired of the Shinigami, currently looking over the information she was collecting concerning a nearby temple but also the church. Yes, based on Jean-san's spiritual pressure, even if she doesn't exert, is she at least kept in class. In my research I can be certain that the bond between humans and these heroic spirits allows empowerment depending on the level of the human. But even with the slight limitation, if the human is weak, they are still to be approached with caution, lest we forget the giant man Naruto-san fought. Nemu had the whole fight recorded, and while some noted how cool Naruto's armor looked, the destruction caused was quite something, more so given they were spurts given flesh. Still don't like it. It's like we've all just been shoved to one side for this adventure, Tatsuki said, managing to grab Apache in a full Nelson hold. At least we made some new friends, and Taiga-san seems fun, Orihime noted aloud while checking her work over along with Mila Rose's since she asked for help. You would think that, Mila Rose said, as the pair of them along with Rangaku were eccentric in their behaviors, or more like there was a touch of airheadedness from the women in question. At least Orihime was young. Bubbly too, so even better. Can't help but be a little worried about the blonde though, being how from what we hear he's a magnet for this sort of trouble. Just hope he doesn't take up any more girls. I don't think there's much room for more back at the inn. I can arrange more room if needed, Nemu piped in as she was closer to a number of different projects her captain worked on. Special expansion was no trouble. I wouldn't be worried. Naruto has all he needs for the moment, but Nemu is right, it wouldn't be much. All we can hope if for just one more girl at the most. X break X. Do you understand your mission? Yes, Your Majesty. I will do as you command and send reports when I can. If you should fail, your name will be recorded and your title remembered. You honor me, Your Majesty. I doubt he'll be much trouble. We'll see. X break X. Evening came fast for the servants and masters, each beginning their own plans to try and get ahead, except for the 8th master, who stood alone in the air over the city looking toward the home of Sakura. He'd had no choice but to let her go home, but not without placing a seal on her. His research of her family was horrific. They had destroyed the girl. Shinji was kind enough to leave a diary of his actions against his adopted sibling, while the grandfather, Zauken, a relic better buried and burnt out of existence. That was what he was going to do, destroy everything to do with that thing that called itself human. To do so meant he'd had to leave Yum and Saokayoku behind for the night. He felt rage, and what he planned to do would alleviate that fury. It's been so long since I did this. Might have been before Yum. Thinking about it, perhaps a fitting name should be given too. Any reason you followed me Sunday to Sunday, you too, Orihime-chan? Naruto asked as the two appeared next to him, Orihime on her shield while Sunday to Sunday solidified Risey under her feet. You were distant when you returned from school, meaning something was bothering you. It has me curious, and when discussing with Orihime she said we should follow you to make sure you were okay. Rangaku-san and Yoriichi-san seemed to agree. Sunday to Sunday said, recalling the grins on the women's faces. Is this something to do with Sakura-san? Naruto-kun? Nemu-chan said you had been looking into her health when she looked at the recording devices. Orihime said, giving him a look he knew he couldn't deny. So innocent was the girl, much like Hinata was. Sakura, when I looked her over, was found to be one of the masters in the war, but that wasn't the problem. Naruto took a moment for the information to sink in. She's heavily infected by magical-made parasites, some of the worst possible in my opinion. They feed off her and she is abused by the family she lives with. The being inside, called her grandfather, is a wraith in my opinion. Someone who should be dead already but hides away to avoid death regardless of what that does. Naruto opened his mouth and something started coming out, a small black gem that glittered in the night sky. Are you going to save her? Orihime asked, knowing how Naruto was, but to see him a little more serious was different for her, as he was usually so joking with her and the others. Even those who might have been enemies he treats kindly, but even she could tell he hated whatever ever was down there. Yes, but I must destroy everything else before I can help her. I may need your help too, Orihime-chan. There will be only so much I can do, and Sunday to Sunday keep her safe. The Arrancar nodded, grabbing Orihime's arm to take her back home. Stay safe and come back soon, Naruto-san. I need you to look over my work. Sunday to Sunday said, earning a minor smile from Naruto as he nodded, but faded as he looked to the gem in his hand. Those girls, I'm glad they don't see this. Abysmo, he muttered, biting the gem, shattering it and the space around him in a circle, releasing shadows that covered his form in an orb of the black substance. This was his hollow side, the pure form of hunger, and nothing hungered more than the dark. It swallowed everything. When the orb faded, it left Naruto looking different. His whisker marks had red under them, now his eyes yellow and black as was usual for hollows, but his clothing was vastly different. Strangely, it was a pure white suit fit for a nobleman, with gloves, cuffs, and well-polished shoes. With the change done, he simply appeared in Sakura's room and formed a bubble around her before sending her to his house. From there he created a ball of shadows and let it drop. From there it esreed like wildfire, taking in everything as it covered it, making it his own. In 30 seconds the manor was now a black shadow. You are free to come out, servant, you can't hide. From the corner of the room a long purple-haired woman wearing a blindfold appeared. Hello Medusa, it has been some time. Chains appeared to grab the woman's wrists as she made to strike him. Who are you, where is Sakura, and how do you know who I am? The woman, the former monster Gorgon, Medusa asked as she struggled in the chains. She is safe, I'm taking her to deal with her problem. I am ruler's master, and lastly, I'm just a nobody in your story, Medusa, but I remember many times from the age of the gods, and when I had to erase them when they threatened the world. Now go to your true master, I have filth to get rid of. A wailing scream echoed down the hall. I don't know if I should trust you. Why save Sakura? Medusa asked as Naruto turned to her and poked her head. When he did, she was given visions of dead bodies and people crying over them, with one figure covered in blood above them. So I can give back some of what I took. Now go, the darkness wants your power. The woman wasn't foolish enough to stay, as was quick to leave in an opening he made for a moment that was shut tight the moment she was out. Naruto made his way down the hall and found a struggling Shinji, looking pathetic as he cried. "Wa Naruto-sensei, help me," Shinji cried as he was pulled to his feet via strings attached to his limbs. Naruto just stared at him as he grabbed the boy's arm and twisted it until it broke. "I'm not here to save you. You think I didn't take note of those seals being placed around the school, which were made to kill everyone should they be finished? I killed it the second I saw it. You will be no different in the end, for what you have done to that girl. I hope you enjoy the next 100 years with nothing but yourself." A black hand grabbed Shinji and pulled him away to never been seen again. "So you got rid of the boy? Good riddance." Naruto looked toward a decrepit-looking man who still seemed to be smiling. "Shame that you had to redecorate my home and steal my granddaughters to do so. A thing like you can't have a sweet girl like her as a granddaughter." Naruto said as whips appeared to slash away the worm creates that tried to ambush him. "Do you honestly believe you have a chance right now? Yeah, another stupid human? Powerful you may be, you have no idea what you are doing or what will happen as a result. That girl isn't sweet, she is just a tool for me in the end. She will give me what I want, and it's not like she complains." Zouken said as swarms of bugs tried to attack Naruto, who stood doing nothing as beasts began to eat away at the worms. "She can't complain, you broke her. Only a couple people stopped her from becoming a drone in the end for your use, but believe me when I say I'll make sure you don't come back, and I hope you remember the name of the man who destroyed you," Naruto said as a black fox appeared next to him. "You won't win, I have my ways," Zouken said before feeling the familiars he had in Sakura start to die, but not hurting her in the slightest, as if they were just being erased. That what was impossible. Killing the worms should kill her, but why wasn't it? You're a wizard, aren't you?" Zouken knew he couldn't run. Where would he go? There were no windows or doors. "I'm the immortal sage, Uzumaki Naruto, and I'm just a doctor, but you Zouken, you can just burn," Naruto said as black flames engulfed Zouken, and he ignored the screams as he walked away and out the manor, watching it as the black home began to condense and collapse in on itself over and over. Eventually there was nothing, just the space where the manor used to be. "It's done, but I need to clear my head still." Naruto lowered into his shadow and considered what to do next, while his shadows made sure there were no other worms about in Fuyuki or in Sakura. X break X. It's strange to be here again. Has it been so long since you looked into yourself, Naruto? a white-haired figure asked as he sat against a tree with Naruto the opposite time. Yes, in many expressions too long. I suppose I remembered that in some ways I'm still naive to what I grew into as the years passed by, watching as the world regressed only to start again. Seeing heroes of old not really helping, especially with how we have been there. Naruto replied, watching as the rain fell in the world around them. Am I a good person? That's a silly question, but yes and no, as you already knew. The real question is why you ask it again. Is it because of what you feel from the girl, the piece of that boy? The figure asked Naruto, opening his purple eyes. Perhaps, or maybe just me being reflective of what changes in my life happened so quickly, or how fast a new family was made when part of me swore not to make one again. Is that why you lied to Orihime? Especially given how you did have children. Boruto and Himawari both lived full lives in the end. Maybe, or perhaps I didn't want to recall seeing them die, so put them out of my mind. I wish I could have been there for them in the end, but it was not to be. Then again, my own death was a lot different from theirs. Naruto said as he felt his Zanpakuto enter the realm. I do hate it when you cut me out, Naruto. Turns all my sake sour and doesn't give me any buzz. Yo, Asura, or should it be Abysmo now? Yume said as she sat next to Naruto with Sakayoku sitting opposite. Abysmo suits me fine, I'm not truly Asura anyway. The spirit of Naruto's hollow said, now being named Abysmo, said to his fellow spirit. Sorry Yume, just the whole thing brought up some old feelings I didn't expect to feel again. Sorry to you too, Sakayoku. Guess I haven't really explained why I left you behind last night, he said, hugging the spirit's shoulder as he allowed her crimson locks rest against his shoulder. It's fine, I understand that you are a complex person under the nice sweet man. I saw it when I felt you in the Sarite. What happens now though? That's easy, he comes back out and given a good drink or two gets back to his usual self. Probably better when this whole thing is behind us too though, Yume said as she chugged from her bottle, the flavor coming back to it now as Naruto felt a small grin. You always make it sound so simple, yet on the other hand I am no different. But yes, after we end this war, I think a proper vacation is in order for all of us, and the girls too, since they put up with me, Naruto said as Abysmo chuckled. As if they put up with you, they all like you and the ways you've helped them. Those hollow girls enjoy the world now, seeing it from clear eyes, not from the old perspective. Orihime and Rengoku brighten up when you just smile, and the cat enjoys the spars as well as the company you provide. Yes, embrace the moments you have with them, just as you did with Jean the first time you met. Abysmo spoke as images appeared in the sky showing the events in question. Among other moments, Naruto had met figure of legend and history, including Arthuria's death. Don't forget us, we are a part of you, so we'll be sticking around for some time, mister. I still want to go against you again, just like old times when I evolved and took on that kimono, Yume said, recalling the outfit she wore once Naruto had earned the right to see it. Plus your friends, Kurama and the others too, are here inside you even though they exist elsewhere, Sakayoku said, placing a hand over his heart. Yeah, but for the moment let's just enjoy the rain and peace, Naruto said as the four just sat in the quiet, letting history flash through the sky of both good times and sad. X. Are you okay this morning, Naruto? Orihime asked in the early hours of the day, with Naruto slowly going over his cooking in the kitchen. Better, remembered a few bad things amongst other things last night. I'm feeling better now. What are you doing up so early though? You weren't worried, were you? Naruto asked, giving his gentle smile that Orihime enjoyed. Have you taken care of what was bothering you too? She asked, moving closer to help him out. I have, but it's just one of the issues I had to manage in the end. Hopefully the rest of our small visit to Fuyuki won't be a problem. Sakura is still resting, Naruto asked, getting a nod of confirmation. I'm going to need your help then. There's a lot of pain she was hiding, and there is something of a sensitive matter I'll need you to heal after we talk with her. Now taste this for me. He let her sip the soup, and her wide-eyed expression let him know he had done a good job. You've added something new to your usual broth. What is it? Orihime asked, now wanting more of the soup. Maybe a bowl of ramen wouldn't be too bad right now, thinking about it. Something a little different. I'll let you try and guess along with Rengoku-chan. Wonder which of you will figure out which it is, Naruto said as he worked knee hand around Orihime's waist and held her close, making her glow cherry red. Sorry, just want to keep you a little close today, Naruto said as Orihime settled against Naruto, leaning her head against his side. It's okay, you have been a little troubled of late. Maybe you should talk to your cute fox friend again, Orihime suggested, earning a smile and nod from Naruto. Not a bad idea, Orihime-chan, but after we get back to home, maybe I should get Kisu to convert my basement while we are still away so we can make a little more room, few rooms, then another training area. I'm sure the others can come too, so I can introduce you all to them, not just Kurama, Naruto said, wondering if the old fox would still be annoyed how he gave out his name so blatantly. That sounds nice. What are they all like though, his friends? She asked as her own arms moved and her hand covered the one around her waist. They all have their quirks. I wonder if Yoruichi will get along well with Kurama's sister, most all things considered. Probably the same for Apache, Miller Rose, and Sunday to Sunday now that I think about it. He let out a small chuckle, imagining those girls' reactions to the Biju. Will Jean be coming home with us? Orihime questioned as Naruto looked down to her. You've made mention of this war, but do we have to lose her at the end of it? I don't intend to let go of Jean again. She deserves a little better her second time round. I have hope and faith that she'll be staying with us all back at Uzumaki Inn for some time. The blonde let Orihime help with the cooking of the more unique dishes while he attended to, as Tatsuki would put it, normal food. The closeness between them didn't go unnoticed by two invisible figures and his Zanpakuto. After he served breakfast, he went into for the time being Sakura's room where the girl still slept. "You ready, Orihime-chan?" The girl nodded and was about to reject the injuries inflicted on Sakura, but before she could, the figure of Ryder appeared in front of the sleeping girl. "Do you truly intend to heal Sakura?" Ryder, or rather Medusa, asked Naruto, who sat down with a sigh. "Of course we do. Forgive me, but you don't need to snoop around the house, you too, Jean," Naruto said as the other blonde made her appearance behind him with a slight blush. "I take you are still wondering why I'm doing this despite not gaining anything from it." Ryder just nodded but allowed Orihime to come forward and begin her healing technique, to which both spurts looked on curiously as it went against the usual methods of magic and the like. The Grail system could not comprehend what it was, and so there was no knowledge for them to help identify what was happening. "Truth it, I just want to help. Call it a bleeding heart if you want, but well, I've seen eyes like hers many times before. It would be cruel of me not to help her even if she can't fight it herself anymore. She was broken and I want to help put her back together so she can live her life the way she wants," Naruto said, pushing a cup of tea to both spurts while accepting his own. "How do you know she won't ask me to deal with you after we leave?" Medusa, knowing she was in a war, was aware that Sakura may not would team up with Shiro, and by relation Rin, who may seek to get rid of Naruto if he was in the way. "Doesn't matter to me, I'm just trying to help who I can and those I want. Nothing more. Shinji is just someone who I bear no regrets killing, same with that thing." Naruto let out a breath before memories of that worm upset him. "You are still much like a knight, Naruto, perhaps a holy knight even sent down by the Lord," Jean said as Naruto felt a bitter laugh come out. "Somehow I doubt that. I probably don't have the specs to gain a divinity rank. So then, Medusa, I worked on these last night." Using one of the many seals on his arm, Naruto offered a pair of glasses to the rider. "They block mystic eyes. I'm no stranger to powerful eyes. They are designed so as long as you wear them you won't turn anything to stone. Try them on me if you are unsure." Medusa looked apprehensive, wondering if this was too good to be true still, and for someone who loved in the age of the gods this was something she couldn't really change, as gods were cruel back then, mainly with how their actions tended to screw over humanity for their entertainment. Deciding to try them, she slowly unstrapped her eye mask she wore and with her eyes still closed placed the glasses on and looked to Naruto, who just tilted his head at her. "See, no problem now, least we can see eye to eye a little better." "Naruto-sensei, I think I've done most of the damage. Can you check I haven't missed anything?" Orihime asked, and Medusa looked on with Jean to possibly the strangest master of the war, but one who they knew would look after them regardless of what would be thrown his way now. "It feels odd being free of those two now that I look at Sakura," Ryder muttered to herself. "I can only imagine, but you and she were not given a fair hand from the start from what I can tell. Hopefully now you and her can live a better lifestyle. She won't bear any mark on her body of the events now. You and the others will help with her spirit," Naruto said as the pair watched Orihime work her healing on Sakura while she was sleeping. "Still feels odd watching her do that. I mean, not even Anohana Teicho can heal on this sort of level." Rangiku noted, draping herself over Naruto's back, her chin resting against his shoulder, and was floating a little to make up the height difference. Her arms were around his stomach with one of his covering hers, rubbing circles into it. Ritsu is more of a quantity style of healing, but in some ways her focus is more on keeping people alive rather than healing fully, useful when in battle. Naruto said despite have a good idea why Ritsu healed the way she did. He'd done the same on a few occasions. Maybe. I still don't see why everyone is dead scared of her. She's really nice at the swa, do you know, Naruto-kun? Come on, tell me. Rangiku rocked into his back, used what those upon high gave her to try and get her answer. Well, I could tell you, but where's the fun in that? I mean, you could just go up to her and ask after all. Naruto knew not to spill others' secrets willy-nilly. Plus the shocked look on Rangiku's face was enough to make him smirk. No way, from how most of the captains act it's clear asking is a bad idea. Rangiku had enough trouble with a grumpy captain, she didn't need more problems. Least Shiro wasn't a pervert like her last one. There you go then, I'm sure she'll tell you. Eventually as you get friendlier with her. Still, Sakura's status as a master can remain a secret between us, Medusa. She doesn't seem to be the fighting type. The purple-haired guardian nodded, watching Orihime's barrier come down, and was fast to check Sakura for herself. All finished, she should be fine, but probably hungry when she gets up. Maybe some gama tofu pudding with extra wasabi would help. Orihime heard retching from outside Sakura's room in his house. Since the room needed a bit of privacy, it was just the 5 of them in the room. I think we'll stick to rice pudding, Orihime-chan, but if you get sick I'll make that for you, okay? Said girl nodded, licking her lips for when she next got sick. He'll leave you to tell her what happened, only seems right. Medusa gave a nod and thanks while not turning to face him, and the trio left as it looked as though Sakura was about to wake. X. Later on, Naruto was sat at his desk looking over some of the reports on the students. Some seemed to be having trouble sleeping with all the accidents that were happening over the city, but nothing too extreme that he had dealt with already. Sakura was staying at the house for good measure with Medusa, so he'd let Shiro and by proxy Rin know. While that was easy, having to set up a story to what happened to Shinji and his home was a little more complex. In the end he went for a freak sinkhole story that with some manipulation was being accepted. The fake corpse would be found by authorities and tests would prove he was Shinji, as his records were already changed. Still, that's only one problem out of several. Naruto muttered while he was handed some tea from Jean. Deities Naruto, take a moment or two and relax. While more fights lie on the horizon, you are not alone in any of these endeavors. Jean said, smiling softly, but her expression changed to a pout when Naruto, without looking, ruffled her hair. I remember when you got all embarrassed when we used to talk like this. You really did mature in that place. But you are right, plus the workload is small here compared to Katakura. Naruto admitted, as both Ichigo and the rest did usually have injuries either from street thugs or getting into trouble. Harem was the quick solution, but he did have to treat them if it was seen by other people. I was young, and you treated me with respect despite the situation. I was flustered given men's usual reactions or unsaid reactions. That and Miss Rangaku has been forthcoming on the rapport you and the others share. One might compare it to a noble's mistresses. Jean said, not being mean about it but just stating a fact. Maybe, but I'm not sure how many of said nobles would be cooking for his mistresses. Still, it's good you are on friendly terms with Rangaku and the others. I was worried the culture shock would be too much. Jean offered a small nod in agreement. It was a possibility, but the friendly face as my master certainly helped. Jean's expression went from happy to concerned. What happens now, though? Naruto turned to her before pulling out another folder. As easier as it could be to deal with all of the remaining issues of the war, there is a factor or two to consider still, those being the blonde demigod living at the church and the other being a victim of the gods. The latter is someone like you, not given the best of chances in life, so I want to help her and her master out a little. The folder in his hand was for one of the faculty members whose history cleared had holes in it that were covered up enough to pass most people's scrutiny. Then what is our first move? That's an easy one, wait for her to make her move. But the issue of the old hero with the little one concerns me. She seemed invested in her feelings of anger toward Shiro. We'll be observing and intervening if the need is there for us, Naruto explained as he looked at the photo he'd obtained of the little albino girl. Her spirit felt strained, as if it was constantly pushing itself. The two continued in silence, which both knew would not last. Where is Rangaku today? Jean questioned over her new, very rambunctious, friend. Modern-day skinship was vastly different now than back in her time period. Said she went out to get snacks. But that was 20 minutes ago. Looks like we have a problem, Naruto said, calling out his blades, Jean taking hold of her handle. Part of me wishes she was just late, but I detect something now that I focus. Jean pointed out, but clearly whoever was keeping Rangaku away was more subtle. The door to his office burst open and skeleton warriors charged the pair, only to be batted away easily by the two blonde swordsmen. Never a dull moment, at least. You be offense, I'll be defense, Naruto said, looking with one eye to his partner, who nodded. Yes, but I may request to switch if the numbers get too high. Odd to attack too openly. The two leapt out the door and back each other with the skeletons attacking them. She must want something then, I am not sure what exactly though, Naruto muttered before seeing a few of the bone warriors get shot down literally by Rin, who was holding out her finger like a child would when playing cops and robbers. Oi Tosaka, over here. Where's Shiro? That idiot. He's searching for people around the school. Most have barricaded themselves in classrooms. This is going to be a pain to cover up. Too many people to hypnotize now. It was that or the clock tower sends up a cleanup team, which was never the better option. I can deal with it. Make them think it's all a dream, but for now we need to find the source of all these beasts. Where's your archer? Naruto asked, leaping over a few fighters and separating their heads from their neck joints with a clean swipe, making them turn to dust. Good, that will save me a ton of work, but Archer is also looking for people outside and unsafe. There's been enough blood in these hallways as it is. Rin flinched a little, recalling the last bloody body she found in the school. Saber must be at home still, unless Shiro called out to her. I doubt the person responsibility is too close. Feels like she's testing us. Naruto blocked several spears, aiming for Jean before snapping them with the back of his blade, to which Jean followed up with a counter-attack of a flaming sword strike. This is not the best battlefield with so many innocents. Cover me. Sheathing his blade, Naruto clapped his hands together before slapping them to the ground. Mokyuden, Mokujoeki. Feeling out all the students' wooden walls fortified with chakra grew in place as a defense. Hodai no Jutsu. From all the wooden defenses now grew fists to destroy and block any of the skeleton warriors. What the heck sort of magic is that? Rin cried out, never in all her studies seen rapid growth in plant life on such a scale. The closest thing she could compare it to were the rumors of the living forest that was a dead apostle. What sort of mage are you? Different. But at least innocents can't be harmed now, and I'll help with cover-up, as I said. Seems as though Saber has felt something. She's running this way, Naruto explained as the remaining skeletons converged on the scene and were taken down just as fast via Archer's arrows coming through the window as HR aimed atop a tree. Bit of a show-off, isn't he? Jean said, smirking a little. The battle was short, but showed herself that her skills had not waned. Perhaps, but this assault won't last much longer once Saber arrives. I suspect we are being watched even now, so 3-on-1 would be unwise to face with limited quality soldiers. They watched as the warriors dissolved into dust around them, signaling the end of the raid. Great, now get to hypnotizing Naruto-sensei. I have enough trouble now making sure nothing gets out from the building nearby, potentially hearing screaming, Rin said while still annoyed at the strange magic she saw Naruto wield. The wooden fits in the hallway retreated into the ground before feathers started to fall around her, making her eyes droop a bit. She shook her head, channeling mana in her body to resist the hypnotism. Archer, the servant, appeared next to her in a flash, jumping through the window, breaking it, making Rin pout at another item to fix. Is he trying to annoy me? To the others in the room, the answer to that was simple, but let's move on. I'll be coming back with Emiya-kun to discuss our next moves, Naruto-sensei. As you wish, bring Saber, I'm sure I can make some snacks for her. Even out of earshot, he was cure. Saber's eyes twitched as the word snacks was uttered. Rin left with Archer, who just smirked, following her as everyone in the school was asleep from the jutsu. Except Taiga, who was already asleep and was difficult to wake. Well, unless you wanted to risk your health by using her nickname. So what are we actually going to do? Call Rengoku and Yoruichi. We have a little German girl to look out for. Archer and Saber could handle most issues, and Rin would likely just suggest an investigation into the potential master of the servant who sent the warriors. That left him plenty of time to help out the unfortunate master of the war, one that clearly needed a proper friend. The two women flashed onto the scene with their speed, and after informing them of the plan, they made their way to the nearby forest. X break X. Not bad craftsmanship, but I've seen better, Naruto said, looking at the castle where he felt the little girl was residing with her servants and two others. They felt young but old. Nemu, said Shinigami, popped out of the bushes, having been following them to observe. Yes, Naruto-san. Tell me, how do the three young spirits feel? Yoruichi and Rengoku gave Naruto an odd look in questioning the lieutenant. Odd, two of them I sense are not old yet. They give off a feeling of maturity. They feel manufactured, while the other feels strong, but the level of rise he output is straining her body. Nemu noted, being aware of her own existence of creation. Modern-day homunculus, you don't see them often. Naruto walked up to the door and simply knocked, while the other, even Jean, gave him a strange look. What? How else do you propose I enter somewhere that's hosts a demigod warrior? Like a ninja, maybe? Yoruichi said, having been partial to the sneaky methods. The girl's small but not an idiot. Don't you see all the birds watching us right now? True to his words, several birds were watching this small group. She watching us, so it's best not to try and sneak in and risk pissing her off. I hope you don't plan to use language like that when we meet the young miss, Naruto. Jean said, not realizing that the girl was older than she looked. Naruto and Nemu could tell, as one was that good at sensing and the other was excellent at research. No, if I am right, I'll be using a language of hers, Naruto replied as the door opened to a pale albino woman wearing rather strange clothes. Hello, is the lady of the house available? Naruto asked, now speaking German, to the confusion of Jean and the others, as they only knew him for Japanese, Jean having gotten a crash course at Japanese through the Grail system. The young miss is waiting inside, but insists on informing you she does not trust any of you and is ready to have us deal with you, the maid replied, while not really changing her expression, opening the door to allow them entry. She led them into a large open room where the young mistress of the manor waited, with her mountain of a bodyguard stood by, weapon in hand. So what brings the strange new master to my home? Ilya asked, while another servant gave her some tea. To offer help. You see, I didn't introduce myself, did I, on our first meeting? Naruto took his seat while Jean, Rengoku and Yoruichi took the sides, while Nemu seemed to start a staring contest with the flat-faced maid. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, the traveling sage, trained doctor and servant of ruler. Naruto pulsed his chakra, focusing on the servant behind Ilya. And my old friend, Berserker said, surprising almost everyone. The years are still kind to you, old man. Berserker, what mad enchantment should be on? Ilya said, confused before recalling what the blonde had said. Wait, you're the sage who's said to have been there when the clock tower was formed. I hardly call a drink with a vampire and drunken ideas such a momentous event. But yes, I am he. How is your master Herc? Naruto addressed the old demigod, who smiled down at him. A strong, sturdy master, but lonely and not long for the world. No doubt your talent for meddling is popping up. Herc let out a small chuckle that echoed in the large room. I hardly meddled in the affairs of your time. I just kept track of what went on. But yes, I am here to help your master if she allows me, Naruto said as he stood up and started to walk over to the girl before crouching down. You may think it odd why I am here, but trust me when I want to help those dealt a bad hand. Why help an enemy master in this war? Ilya asked, confused, as few men in her life had been kind, all but one who betrayed her and her mother. I have no wish that can be granted, not anymore. All I can do is help those who come onto my road of life, like you have right now. Just touch my hand. You already see I am a little more than your average man, so no harm in showing you more. Naruto helped out his hand, which Ilya hesitated in taking, but when she did, and in the moment, Naruto shared with her moments on his long life. Some might ask why he showed so much, but it was to do more. The girl in front of him was another victim of the war. A victim he would work to heal, even if it took a little different method to heal her. Everyone please lend me a little more for this poor girl, Naruto asked the Biju through his connection. Even if separated, all 9 of them kept their bond with Naruto. Through that bond, chakra flowed into Ilya, whose body lit up in a white flame that would not burn. For Ilya, she saw various ages of the man in front of her in an image, perhaps a dream even. Thousands of trees blooming in secure petals, while he and heroes of all ages shared drinks together, laughing in merriment. By the largest tree 2 swords, but there was more to them. But Ilya's mind was brought back into the moment when Naruto let go of her hand. My body, it doesn't hurt. She looked to see a smiling Naruto as he patted her head. No, I fixed your body and soul. Your body will need a little time to develop to the age it should be, so soon you'll be as beautiful as you should be. You will live a full life now, free from the burden placed on you. Naruto quickly felt himself hugged by the girl. Ilya, you saw bits of my life. Seeing that you see that life is not always what we are told, and I believe your hatred of Shiro may be incorrect. Speak with him when you get the chance, okay? I'll try, but thank you. Could you do the same to Stella and Lacerit? Naruto nodded to her while the jeans and the others just smiled, seeing why they all stayed round the Immortal, while Rengoku and Yoruichi more as he went to fix the maids too. X. Outside the mansion high in the sky, a green-haired woman wearing a white uniform addressed several men in similar white outfits. We are here for one thing: capture and restrain the former general. Brutal force is advised and allowed, as he is reported to be able to fight most high-level Quincy with ease. Now everyone engage the attack, release your arrows. The woman shouted as the Quincy forces let loose the barrage of spirit arrows. X. Just as Naruto was about to heal the maids, his danger sense went off. Shit, everybody down. Drawing out Yum, he slammed the blade into the ground. Yada no Kagami. A flash of light came into the room before above the room floated a large iron cast mirror, one of the 3 sacred treasures, and a divine tool of defense. Wait, what's going on? Ilya asked, seeing such not a Nobel phantasm but instead the actual relic. Her eyes told her that much. It seems we have party crashers in this war, Naruto said before light could be seen from outside the window, which was followed by the shockwave of whatever the light was. The group watched as the windows smashed in an instant and the land outside was reduced to ash. Bastards decided to look on their own. Rengoku, Yoruichi, we going up? Jean, stay here and guard Ilya. Wait, Naruto, what are you going to fight? Take me with you. Jean cried, drawing her sword out, but Naruto shook his head at her. No, right now you can't fly, and Ilya along with the others need your protection if they break through the mirror's defense. Trust me, this is different than what happened at the school. Nemu, stay here too, better safe than sorry, Naruto said before flashing away with Rengoku and Yoruichi to the sky. When they stood in the air to get a look, they were met with what seemed like an entire platoon of soldiers in white. It can't be. Those uniforms. Quincy's, Yoruichi said, shocked to see the old enemy of the Shinigami and threats to the balance. How are there so many? Simple, you guys all sucked at getting all of us. You big old Shinigami thought you could sweep us under the rug, and the fact someone helped some of us to escape. Isn't that right, En? The girl with green hair asked, getting Yoruichi and Rengoku to stare at Naruto. I won't deny it, there were innocents in the hunts. Still, I was never En, I was Naruto, nothing more. So what fool of a name did you give yourself? Naruto asked, giving his 2 friends looks that he would explain later. Candace Catnip, I was given the tea for the Thunderbolt, Candace said as she crossed her arms and pushed up her large chest, which was tightly packed into her top. That's kind of stupid, Rengoku said, looking at the Quincy. While she didn't partake in the Quincy raids, she was up to date. Her old captain did have good stories. Wait a minute, Ichigo's dad looks a lot like him now that I think about it. Must be a coincidence. What the hell did you say, bitch? Candace shouted out while her soldiers took aim. You know what, that doesn't matter, as you'll be full of holes in a second. Then take aim and fire at will. Yes, Commander. Each of them prepared their bows, but the 3 vanished in a burst of speed, and in but a second all 100 men were now slashed, burned, and bruised. You misjudged my reasons for my defense. It's not the number of soldiers. You just caught me at a bad time, Biri, Naruto said, mocking Candace for her name. What did you call me? The air around Candace started to spark. I don't care if you're some old commander, no one calls me that. Taste lightning. Holding out her hand, Candace shot out a huge blast of lightning which went through her own soldiers to try and hit Naruto. Same disregard as most of you lot had back then. Saokayoku, little help. Naruto's second sword flashed and it shifted into the gauntlet. Spreading out his fingers, he made a flame barrier that absorbed the lightning before dispersing it. She seems a little trigger happy, doesn't she? Yoruichi said, seeming the ashes spread from the dead soldiers. So what? They knew the risks. Candace defended as her body continued to spark. From us or from her? Rengoku said, channeling her Ryatsu in preparation of Bankai. It was clear to her the pressure Candace was applying was captain level, which confused her. No reports from the Quincy hunts ever suggested they had this level of power. From her I'd say more. I was known for non-lethal takedowns in some of my earlier points, like this one. Uzumaki Kenpo, Sekiken. Punching the air, it rippled before hitting the unsuspecting Candace, who felt her body get shaken up. What was that? Candace knew she should have studied more on the background of En, but that stupid zombie freak kept annoying her when she was reading up on his background techniques. Something you shouldn't be paying much attention to considering you're 3-on-1. Yoruichi appeared behind Candace and launched her away with a powerful kick to her back. Rengoku followed up by using her Ijetsu Neketsu to cut into her arm. And you are mistaken in thinking I saved the Quincy's. Who do you think have the Shinigami your location? I am as much responsible for saving as well as damning, Naruto said, speeding in close. Sekiken Ren, and he unleashed a barrage of punches that pulsed into Candace, making her spit out bile. You're trying to shut down my body with those blows. You're too pussy to kill me, Candace taunted, at least knowing the man in front of her had a bleeding heart, even if he did admit to the attempted genocide of her king's people. Hardly, Biri, just making it easier, you don't squirm. Naruto reached to grab her neck but stopped as Candace released an explosion of electricity around her. What the? She should be going unconscious from those blows. Naruto, you alright? Yoruichi said, holding his arm that was twitching madly from the huge amount of electricity messing with his nerves. Yeah, just need a minute or two to get feeling back. The armor on my right kept it from being affected. Naruto felt his chakra and Saokyoku's influence starting the essential reboot of his arm. Hey, usually I'm really pissed off when I have to use this. Candace's voice called out from the cloud she's created from her explosion. But seeing you spaz out from that little shock means this will go a lot quicker now. You should know things have changed a lot since you were last part of us and we came up with a new move on our own. When the smoke cleared, the Quincy had changed, so now she had wings made of lighting at her back and a star of lighting above her head. Say hello to my Volstendig. In a flash all three were struck by lightning. X break X. Nemu-san, what is happening with Naruto? Jean asked the remaining Shinigami as Naruto wasn't letting her see through his eyes via shared perception. She did know Nemu had various ways of watching the area though. Difficult to ascertain, the enemy seems to be utilizing lightning-based attacks which has saturated the air with both Risey and lightning. Surveillance needs a moment to reconnect. You'll have your communication device right, Jean-san. Jean pulled out her phone while nodding. I'd recommend that you contact Tanao-sen to let her know her assistance may be required again. This feels strange with such a battle going on in the skies. I expected Berserker to be fighting Oni I-chan more with Saber. What about you, Berserker? Well, the old writer has always been odd. In truth, I have never seen him fight. All I know is his aura and that it is not one crushed easily by the elements. There was a reason he was never subjugated in the Age of the Gods. All we can do, little master, is wait. Ilya nodded, leaning against Berserker's head while she sat on his shoulder. X break X. Had guessed they weren't expecting that. Oh well, at least they are a little crispy, better that than letting the freak change them. Candace said, watching the three bodies start to fall, but all three puffed up in smoke, revealing three logs. They say the Lord giveth the log, and the log shall be your salvation. For me it's a lifesaver. I hate lightning fast movement, by the way. Naruto said, making Candace turn round, seeing the blonde with the two girls under his arms, as the shock had been strong enough to knock them out. Not to mention the shock was making their muscles spasm like mad. He was glad he could move fast as he placed them inside, surprising the group before appearing right where he started. He'd get a talking to for this, but this girl was surprising. When he was with the Quincy, they never had anything like Volstendig. Not even their leader, which made him question how similar it was to Bankai, as he could feel her level, and she was definitely on level with Rangaku right now in her own Bankai. I will be honest, that did surprise us, but you really think you can still beat me? This isn't arrogance, by the way, just confidence. Naruto said, pulsing his spiritual pressure, making Candace flinch for a moment. And if you are taking this to the next level, I may as well do the same. Bankai. Like I'd let Candace move to grab something from her pocket, but had she turned to lightning to avoid losing an arm. What? That sort of speed? How? That little trick I got from my dad. You didn't notice the mark. Naruto said, holding a Naginata now. Well, that wasn't all. Along with the Naginata, which was identical to the original Sakyoku from the execution ground, just smaller, he was clad in crimson armor. The armor had a helmet of phoenix theme to it with claws and talon on his hands and feet. The helmet had a mouth cover too, so only his blue eyes could be seen. Sakyoku, Hoyaku Tensho, I'm a little new to this armor, but I get the feeling this match will go better now. So Miss Thunderbolt, think you can beat your senpai? Naruto said, twirling his Naginata with the blade glowing red hot as he channeled heat into it. Especially without this. Naruto held up what looked to be half of a medallion, and Candace looked to her hand to see the other half. You looked away. Candace, realizing her mistake, pulled two of her wing bolts to act as sword to block the strike, but nearly buckled as the blow felt like someone dropped a mountain onto her arms. Her use of blunt being the only thing that saved her from cracking right there. Put some weight on there. Some girls don't like that in guys. Candace said as she leaped back and threw both sword, two already reforming behind her, while Naruto blocked before both sword exploded. Maybe so, but my girls aren't that petty. Naruto's voice sounded out as he cut through the smoke, revealing him without a scratch on his armor. Torian, he called out as he swung out several arcs of fire at Candace, all of them moving to hit from all directions. I find natural heat from a fire better than any electric one. Care to disagree? Fuck yeah, I do. Plasma ball. Candace pulled her arms in before screaming out, making a sphere around her to defend against the onslaught. And screw you, electricity beats fire. Thrusting her arms forward, she sent the ball of energy right at Naruto. Yurenkyaku. Jumping into a spin kick, he unleashed a grand fireball at nullify Candace while she moved to strike him from behind, only to find his Naginata in her way as they crossed blades again. The two then began trading attacks, each trying to outpower the other, with Candace using her natural electric attacks to go through his armor, and Naruto using flames to overpower anything she threw and attacked with. The only difference was Candace was exhausting her Risey a lot faster than he was with her excessive use of lighting, form, and blood. I'll admit you are skilled more so than your common Quincy. Even now you don't seem to have many burns. Well, except on your outfit, Naruto said, noticing that a fair bit of Candace's white outfit had been turned black from toasting. An outfit I'll definitely make you pay for. These aren't cheap to make, so I don't fry them myself. Hope your wallet's full, old man. Candace replied as she kept her eyes on him. Never had she been pushed this far this fast. Is this what those closet to his majesty are like in power? Doesn't matter, I need to trap him. That will work. Pressing on her belt, a heart-shaped locket popped up. With one hand she grabbed it. The locket extended out into a bow with a lightning theme to it too. I wonder just how good you are with your dodging skills. Licked region blitzed through, firing the Risey arrows, but as the name Lightning Scatter suggested, the arrows were quickly rebounding in the air, going faster each time. Licht region can shoot over 1,000 shots a second, so you can only imagine the huge problem such a number of high-speed attacks could do. In an instant, Naruto was assaulted by the power of Candace's attack, the arrows hitting him before bouncing off to do the same over and over. The lightning coursed through Naruto's body through the armor, and it continued until Candace finished it off with her charging a huge amount of power. Electrocution. Boom. Crap, I'm gonna get so much crap for killing him, Candace said as she breathed heavily, as she did just come up with that variation of the Licht region, along with a high-powered electrocution. Well, at least what's left can be taken back in a box. Candace looked down to the mansion below her, still intact, mainly at least. Well, now I gotta run clean up, maybe a quick explosion would do it. Bambi would be better here, piss her off and boom, no need for cleanup. At least her explosion-happy tendency can be good for something. Pity you will have to clean up on your own. Candace tried to turn round, but the pain in her abdomen stopped her as she noticed the blade of Naruto's Naginata coming straight through, turning her white clothes red. Kami, that stung. I'll admit I was not expecting you to be that unique in your attack. It was like something from Saint Seiya. Gakao, she asked while coughing up blood. Am you asking how I got by the defense you were using, or how I'm alive? Well, the second is easier to answer. I heal really fast and my Bankai's nature puts that into overdrive from the heat. Really tiring though. Anyway, the first is that Hoyoku Tensho's blade is a blade that has the weight and density of over 1,000,000 Zampertu. Not even the strongest shield could stand up to something like that. Naruto stuck his finger into her wood before writing something into her back. Now then, well, I could kill you, which would save me a lot of time explaining why I'm keeping you alive. I'm a sucker for converting bad girls to kinda good. Oh right, gotta do that too. Sharpening a blade of Raizei at the tip of his finger, Naruto cut something in the air, and instant Candace felt something gone in her being. Now then, night. He chopped the back of her neck, knocking her out before pulling the blade out. He made a clone to send her to Orihime to get her fixed up just enough. I wish my luck didn't bring me more problems all the time. Then again, what else would I be doing if I didn't help out? Naruto's mask and helmet came off and went down to the ground. Guess I'm cleaning up now though. Well, time for minions. Summoning up several cage bunchen, he sent them to work rebuilding the damaged mansion before walking inside. Yo, all done. Okay, sadly the chapter is over. And if you enjoyed, just leave a like and subscribe with post notification, so when the next chapter is ready, you will be notified. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye.